this is going to be the 100th episode.
Yeah,
I have enjoyed this conversation so much.
I have too, man.
That this is the 100.
Okay, let's go, man. I'm happy to be. It's an honor.
It's my honor. It's our honor.
Yeah, dude. This is one of the genuinely. I haven't had a conversation like this in God knows how long.
Tonight, sitting back with me, I got my friend from the gym, Julian Kennedy. They're not mass produced.
Marvel is so mass produced.
I think we turned out okay. You turned out okay?
I turned out pretty alright.
What's your self-assessment of Julian right now? Slightly unwell.
Your guitar is honestly, it feels like it's like the focal point of my entire existence. I remember it was our third show of the tour. We played in Houston, and me and him were out on the roof of the venue, just like we're smoking a cigarette, just talking about music and just started like how much we love guitar, because like both guitar players talking about, dude, guitar's so cool, I love metal, but I am way more passionate about music and playing guitar, more than anything in the world. At the end of the day, what makes you better at something is practice, and a lot of it.
Yeah.
And there's no escaping that. You look at lyrics nowadays, right? Lyrics are atrocious. They're so bad. It's so awful. People can't stand to be in reality anymore.
Yeah.
You try to, even just hanging out with your friends, someone's gonna be on their phone, Go on a walk. Imagine going on a walk without listening to music or being on your phone and just existing in the moment. And the way I like to think of things is, you say, oh, I'm having a spiritual experience. But I think we're spirits having a human experience. That's the way I kind of see it.
Dude, I told you I was doing you a favor, and you didn't believe me. Look how happy she is. I just saved your relationship, brother. Why do you think you have a hard time connecting with people?
I feel like it's difficult for me to... I know what types of people I don't connect with very well, usually.
Let's say that you could teleport back to middle school Julian.
Mm-hmm.
Would you tell him to do anything different?
No.
Why?
I kind of subconsciously thought that there was going to be some magical thing that was going to happen that was going to pull me out of that, instead of realizing that I'm in full control right now and I can choose to be here, or I can make a decision to get out of it. Do you want to come over and grill something? And I'm like, yeah. So I think the fact that you were able to crack down all these barriers and like get to know me in the 2 hours is insane, and I think that's an art form within itself.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of David's Saturday Night Sit Back. Tonight, sitting back with me, I got my friend from the gym, Julian Kennedy. Julian is also a local-ish artist, guitar player, gym freak, sort of not a jack of all trades, but you got your hands in a couple different things.
Yeah, I like to, all around the board, more stuff to do.
Hell yeah.
Keep myself occupied.
Happy New Year, by the way.
You too.
Thanks,
Merry
man.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry late Christmas.
Did we say? I don't think we texted each other on Christmas Day, did we?
No.
Or even around Christmas.
I'm sorry, I forgot to wish you happy Christmas.
I forgot too. We hate each other. It's okay. No, I was in Disneyland, so I was very preoccupied.
Oh, wow. That sounds fun.
What'd you do?
I was actually on a cruise ship with my family. I'm not big on cruises. I'm not a fan. I've never been on one, but I don't know. It's not really my thing.
This was your first?
First, yeah.
What was not your thing about it?
I don't know, man. I just I don't like stuff like that. I'm not a huge I've never been big on amusement parks or cruise ships, resorts. I want if I'm gonna travel, I want the real thing. I want to be in the city. I don't want to be on the kind of the touristy things. Also, like, the food on the cruise was like all frozen, and it just like kind of
Oh.
tastes like, and none of it was really good for you. A lot of it was just junk food, and I don't know. I just got really bored, but it was for my. I kind of went for my grandparents. Just wanted like, they're kind of old, so I just wanted make sure they had a good time and everything, and you know, I was a good sport about it.
What a good grandson.
Thanks. Yeah.
You're welcome. Dude, you and me are not opposites, but what I like about people is when I find out we have different interests. I could be the opposite of you. I get in the sense that like Disneyland, dude, my ideal
I've
vacation.
never been to Disneyland or Disney World or anything Disney themed.
Were you a big on Disney growing up?
I actually was. I loved the older cartoons. Like, that's what my dad showed me when I was a kid. It was like the old Mickey Mouse stuff from like the 30s and 40s. I thought it was
the
hilarious.
old stuff.
Yeah. Cause like, and I watched Mickey Mouse Clubhouse when I was a kid too, but I was mainly into like that older stuff because back then like they didn't really hold back. You can still watch that stuff now and it's funny. It's really funny because like yeah, they'll make jokes that you can't really get away with now. Like there was this one where Goofy got addicted to smoking, and like, like he had to like he was like fiending, and like it was just like you could not make a joke like that now, in kids shows.
No.
But I also just I appreciate the animation too because my parents are artists, and my mom's a painter. But my dad's like all over the board. He does music. He does sculpture, painting. He works with leather bags. He did a little bit of animation. So through my dad, I've kind of learned to have an appreciation for all forms of art, including animation. So I was also drawn to that as a kid when I'd watch those two-dimensional, like hand-drawn animations of like early Disney.
Yeah.
And like Looney Tunes. I love Looney Tunes.
Yes.
Like the Roadrunner thing. Like I always thought that was funny, but I also just love the animation, character design, because I loved to draw when I was a kid. I still do. Doing my whole life. Both my parents are artists, so I just kind of was born into it, I guess. But yeah, I always had a huge obsession with animation. I had an animation phase when I was in like 8th grade. I'd make my own. I did this one of like, I was never an expert. I kind of just dabbled in it, but I did this one of like a UFO like abducting a guy, and then he like the alien opens up a portal and then throws him out, and then he runs away, and then the laser beam shoots him and he dies. And then I was like 13, but yeah, that's kind of why I was into those early Disney. Also, it's just super nostalgic. My dad just turned me onto that because like he was like, no, don't, like, you don't want any of this like half-assed like modern three-dimensional animated stuff. Like you want the real deal where they spent like time on it, and there was like it took so long to like hand animate all that stuff.
Yeah.
And all the backgrounds were hand painted. Like they painted backgrounds like that. You'll look at like I don't know, like an old Disney animation like Mickey Mouse. Maybe he's like outside and like got like a beautiful scenery, and everything. But all those backgrounds were hand painted by some guy. You don't have that now. You can just like computer generate something, and obviously now with like AI, like you just do that in like 1 second. But back then, there was like this attention to detail that could only be achieved through, hand painting. I love that. Like back then, there was so much attention to detail, and like there was so much time that was put into stuff, and like I just feel like there's a lack of that nowadays in a lot of things, even with music too. Look a lot of mainstream music compared to music in the past, even in the 90s, which wasn't even that long ago. So I think nowadays we're lacking a large amount of authentic art, whether it's visual arts, music, film,
Yeah.
I think the mainstream nowadays is a lot more shallow and mass produced, and I don't know, there's not that like artistic element that you feel when you experience a piece of art. And, a piece of art is everything creative, in my opinion.
Dude, you're just coming up in here and going from 0 to 100 real quick. I have so many questions for you already. The first one being, would you like a Zin?
I would love a Zin.
What you feeling any flavor? Oops. You don't have to take that one just because I threw it at you. There's also coffee down here, but I'm guessing since we're drinking beer, you probably don't want coffee.
I think I'm going to go with wintergreen.
Good choice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, dude. You know what's funny is about you saying this, and I'm gonna make a broad generalization. It's just my opinion, guys. I'm just talking. Before COVID, I probably went to the movies at least once a month, and sometimes even more. And I'd hit up a bunch of friends, go to the movies. Sometimes if the friends weren't available, or it'd be like a fucking Wednesday night. My body would be sore because I'd worked out everything. Be like, all right, I have to take a rest day. What do I want to do? I'll go to the movies.
Yeah.
And dude, there's usually always something pretty good playing. And ever since like the last 2 or 3 years, when I see the stuff that's coming out, I'm not even excited for it anymore.
I know, me too. It's because it's so mass produced, and like they just like, if you look at Marvel, everyone's talking about how
they're not mass produced.
Marvel is so mass produced.
That's exactly what came to mind when you started talking about art, and as soon as you said mass produced, my mind went to, I just said I love Disneyland, and I'm about to bash them in the same sentence.
Yeah, I know. It's because like, I don't know. There was like, at least when I was growing up, and I'm sure still when you were growing up, there was this like, especially, take Disney, for example, like, they come out with a new movie, and it was always, like, a masterpiece. Like, WALL-E. I love WALL-E. WALL-E is my favorite Disney movie of all time. WALL-E, Ratatouille, like, all those old Pixar films were, like, you just watch them. You can still watch them as an adult and just be like, that is just a very good film. You can just appreciate how just good it is.
After getting back from Disneyland, I watched The Incredibles.
So good. Because
they have a ride based off The Incredibles, and while we were on the ride, I haven't seen this movie in a very long time, and I want to watch it. So I had to read 398 pages worth of resumes today.
Yeah.
I was like, what do I want to do while I read 398 pages of resumes?
Watch The Incredibles.
Watch The Incredibles.
Man.
Bring that a little closer to your mouth, because you like to put your hand over your mouth. So
there we go. Okay.
You hear that? There's that voice. There's that man. Yeah, dude, The Incredibles, so good. Even some of the earlier Disney movies, like when you were talking about one of the characters like smoking, do you remember in the original Robin Hood when one of the characters got like drunk off his ass?
I haven't seen the original. I only saw that once, and I was like 6.
I think it was Robin Hood. I could be wrong, but I was rewatching that one recently. And like, man, could you imagine if they put this in a kid's movie now of this character just getting blasted in the middle of this little fairy tale?
Have you seen Dumbo?
Not for a very long time.
There's a scene where the Dumbo gets like super drunk and like he starts like tripping out and like seeing these like psychedelic, like there was a lot of psychedelic imagery in those, like, when the characters would get drunk or like, like all that stuff. There was a lot of psychedelic elements to like a lot of early Disney films, like when it was like 2-dimensional animation, and I thought that was very interesting.
You think in a kids movie today, you saw Aladdin, right?
I saw it once a long time ago, but I never really got into Aladdin. Can't really remember much of it.
Let's see if I can jog your memory a teeny bit. There's a scene at the very end where Jafar, the bad guy, captures Jasmine, the princess, and he dresses her up in this like red bikini and this like very like skimpy, I guess you could say, suit, and he has her all chained up. And watching it as an adult, I was like, this is like light, like bondage.
Yeah,
like this is wild, and it's a kids movie. On the box, it says 4 years old plus.
Yeah, and when you're a kid, it goes completely over your head.
You have no idea. You're just like, oh no,
she's trapped.
Oh no. As an adult, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah,
it's
like,
a whole
oh,
different.
God.
Oh no.
Yeah. There's so many of those. If you watch like a lot of those older Disney movies, there's so many jokes that just went over kids' heads, and it's hilarious.
Dude, even Friends. I'm assuming you didn't watch a lot of Friends.
Well, my girlfriend's a huge fan of Friends, so I've like was forced to watch it with her. But Yeah.
Even so I was raised in a really Christian home. So like we being like me and my siblings, me and my brother mainly, it took us, we probably figured out what like sex and jerking off and like all that stuff was a lot later than most kids did.
Yeah.
And I've even was just rewatching Friends this year, and I was like, man, they make a ton of masturbation jokes. And I never, as a kid, I was just, I don't even know what I thought. I guess I just didn't understand, or I was like, huh, I don't get that one. What's funny about that?
And then they do like some stupid like slapstick humor, and then you're like, oh, I forgot about it now. That was funny.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Old movies and shows were better.
No, they were better.
Now we have to be
funny.
good.
Now we have to be like, oh, you can't say that because it's not age appropriate.
Now we just do.
5-year-old's not gonna get it. Who cares?
Yeah, we didn't get it. I think we turned out okay. You turned out okay?
I turned out pretty all right.
What's your self-assessment of Julian right now? Slightly unwell.
I'm doing okay. Yeah. You know, probably should study a little more for my classes.
Nah, it's overrated.
Stop playing so much guitar.
No.
Well, I'm not gonna stop playing guitar. I'm gonna keep doing that.
That's got to be like tons of things for you.
Oh
Therapy,
God,
fun.
dude.
It's got to be. It's got to hit so many like different.
Your guitar is honestly, it feels like it's like the focal point of my entire existence. Like I can't imagine my life without it. You know, like, you know, you're bored. You're like, oh, what am I gonna do? I'm so bored. I don't want to watch a movie. I don't want to hang out with my friends. Oh, go play guitar. It never gets old because, you know, you're honestly, if anyone's any kind of musician, you play an instrument, you're never gonna feel like you're good enough at your instrument, which is like not really a bad thing because I view it as like, oh, there's always something to work on, you know, so it never gets boring.
Yeah.
You know, even the best guitar players of all time, they're like, oh, I need to be better. Like, I need to get better at this. Like, but one of my favorite guitar players is Dimebag Darrell from Pantera.
I don't know them well.
Pantera, I love Pantera so much. I think I worship Dimebag Darrell. And I think it's funny because he didn't really know any music theory at all. He was just some like crazy prodigy guitar player. And, you know, I've learned a few of his guitar solos. I've learned Cemetery Gates, Domination solo, the song called Tins solo, the song called Floods. I learned that solo. And something I've realized about through learning these solos, I'm like, this dude is just inventing scales that just like, he's like, I don't know any music theory. I just play what sounds good, you know? And like, it's just so insane to me that like, you know, you listen to a bunch of other.
Hey, sorry. Hey, come here. I don't know why, you know, he has a clear path that he could take right there. But this unit of a body wants to just, I don't even know what you're doing except interrupting Julian.
Shame.
I know you don't.
Shame on you. Just kidding. You're a good boy.
But you're talking about, yeah, he's just inventing skit, and he doesn't have like he never went to school for music.
No.
He just played.
Yeah, he just played, and like he was just, there is no guitar player like him, and there never will be. And I look up to him more than any guitar player ever, at least like in the last few years, because and he died in 2003. He got murdered on stage.
No way.
Yeah, he was shot by a schizophrenic Pantera fan, and you know, he somehow convinced himself that Dimebag Darrell stole all of his guitar riffs and used them in Pantera. So he was so angry about this delusion he was living in that so Pantera broke up, I think in like 2003. Sorry, no, he died in 2004. So I think Pantera, if my memory serves me right, I think they broke up in 2003. Because Phil Anselmo had like this drug problem and, you know, just broke the band apart. He was the vocalist. But so Dimebag Darrell and his brother, who was the drummer for Pantera, Vinnie Paul, they started this band called Damage Plan. And they were, I think, on their first tour and they had just released their first album. And they were on tour, and they played it was a smaller music venue. I think it was in Cleveland, or Columbus, Ohio. That's what it was, I think. I hope I'm right. But
We'll fact
maybe
check
some
you after.
Pantera fan in the comments is just going to be like, actually, it was in whatever. But but anyway, so like this paranoid schizophrenic Pantera fan who was convinced that Dimebag Darrell was stealing all his riffs and his guitar parts brings a gun to this show at this small venue in Columbus, Ohio, and just walks up on stage and just shoots Dimebag in the head on one of their first shows as Damage Plan. And it was the most, like, honestly, like, I wasn't even alive when this happened, and it's just, to me, like, the saddest death to me at least, in, like, all of music. Because, I don't know, he was just, like, oh my God, there is not a guitar player on this planet that can play like him or ever will be able to play like him. Because there was an interview where he was talking about, like, this is when he was in Damage Plan, and he was talking about, like, oh, like, apparently, like, these, like, riffs that I've written, apparently they're in the key of F, but I had no idea because I don't know music theory, and, like, he's like, I just think it sounded tough, so I tuned my guitar, like, up or down a little bit, and it was, like, I thought it sounded cool. And then you take, like, this, like, music theory nerds that are like, well, actually, like, and then he just blows them away. Because, all the music theory you want, but the level of just muscle and just power and feel and tone that Dimebag had was something that cannot be taught,
So he did. I mean, I don't even consider like knowing A through G to be music theory. Like that's like the most basic of basic. But he didn't even know that. He just sort of
knew that. Like he knew like the basic stuff. But like when it came to like knowing what like diatonic scales, I don't really know that much music theory either. I've been playing guitar for 12 years now, and I don't even really know music theory. I don't think you need to learn it. It depends on the person, but if you're playing like jazz, or if you're a jazz musician, or you're like a classical musician, then yeah, you probably want to learn music theory. But if you're into like metal or blues or grunt, or anything, you don't need music theory.
No.
I think as an artist, you just, if it sounds good, then it is good.
Yeah.
Sounds good, then you're playing it right.
Yeah. You ever heard of the Broken View?
I have not.
I'll probably reference them a few times since we are probably going to talk about music a lot tonight. But they're the guys right behind you. They just moved to Austin from New York. Good friends of mine. The main two guys are, and like Austin, the lead singer. To your point, he didn't even finish high school. I think he dropped out either his sophomore or his junior year. But I remember him telling me he was just sitting in the back of class, listening to the guy in the front of the room, just like drone on, and all he wanted to do was sing and play the guitar and play the piano. And he was just like, I'm never going to learn or need to use math. I'm never going to need maybe English, but even that, he was like, I don't need to know a verb from a noun. And so, dude, he just dropped out of high school. He never went to college. And now they're fucking blowing up. They're doing great,
Yeah. I have a buddy. He's one of my good friends. I was in my first band, and this was last summer in June. I joined my first band. I think it was like the beginning of April. It was like this kind of pop punk band that I joined. It's not really my kind of music, to be honest, but I was like, this is my first band. Like, I'm just gonna join them. I need the experience, and they're pretty good for what they are. Like, objectively, they're very talented musicians. So I was like, I'm gonna join them. And this first show, I was like absolutely terrified. Never play on stage. There was a pool of sweat at my feet, and I wasn't prepared for how many people were gonna be there. There was like 100 people there.
What kind of venue was it?
It was the Mohawk. Mohawk.
Oh,
in Austin. Yeah. So I played there for my first show, and there was like 100, maybe more, that showed up. And I was not prepared because I walked out on stage, and I was like, oh no. I played all right. I made a few mistakes, but a bunch of my friends were there, and they were like, dude, we didn't even notice, man. Like, you played fucking great. And I was like, thanks. But anyway, so what I was saying is, like, my we ended up going on tour with this other band, and they're called Identity Crisis, and they're out of Corpus Christi. And the first show of the tour was in Corpus Christi at House of Rock, which is this little venue down in Corpus. It's a cool venue. I like playing there. But that's when I met them, and I really got along with all of them. And like, one I got closest with was the guitarist, and their band is doing really well right now. I remember I think it was our third show of the tour. We played in Houston, and me and him were out on the roof of the venue, just like we were smoking a cigarette, just talking about music, and like, just started like how much we love guitar, because like both guitar players talking about, dude, guitar's so cool, I love metal, but like, and then like, yeah, so we were talking about that, and then he was like, man, like, he's like, I'm in college right now. He's a year older than me. He's like, I'm in college right now, getting a business degree. But he was like, man, like, this is what I want to do. He's like, I don't want to work some 9-to-5 job. Like, he's like, I would rather live in a van, but do this than anything in the world. And I was like, me too. Like, this is like, if I could do anything on the planet, it would be this, even if I lived in a box. Like, I don't care,
So why are you going to school?
My parents, and like uncertainty, and like, I'm not in a band right now. And I left my old band because, it just didn't work out. Like, there was like a little bit of conflict, and also the drive was too far from San Marcos. And like, I wasn't passionate enough about the music to be willing to make that drive. But, I still like get along with all of them. They're all very talented musicians. The bassist for my old band actually just got married, so it's good for him. But it just didn't work out. So I was like, I'm just gonna focus on school, keep practicing guitar, trying to get better. And I was in the studio art program at Texas State, which is where I go to school. And my parents are like, you need to make good grades, like, focus on school, focus on school, focus on school, focus, that's your only job, like, focus on school. And I was an art major, I was kind of pushed into it, or not pushed, but encouraged in that direction. I still love making art. I love drawing. I've doing my entire life since longer than I've been playing guitar. When I came out the womb, I was
had a pen in your hand.
Yeah, exactly. But I love art, but I'm way more passionate about music and playing guitar more than anything in the world.
Did your parents go to school?
Yeah, my mom went to Parsons, and she also went to SCAD. She like moved around schools a lot. My dad went to Louisiana Tech for art. And my mom actually ended up becoming a very successful painter. And she does very, very well for herself. And
she make money off it?
Oh yeah. Big time. Big time.
To this day?
Yes. Like,
good for her.
She like, you don't see, when you think of an artist, oh, I paint for a living. You don't like, oh, I'm making money. But my mom, like, if I was going to be an artist, which I do want to like be able to sell my artwork eventually one day, be a really cool way to make a living. But the magnitude to what she has done, like, it was a lot of struggle for her. She barely made any money when she graduated. She was, after grad school, she became a art professor at, I think it was Louisiana Tech. I can't remember, but she was an art professor, and she made like $20,000 a year. But she was barely getting by. She was pregnant with me, and yeah, so it took a good 10 years of struggle before her career really took off. And now she's at a point where, she's married to my stepdad now. My stepdad, he's an accountant. He makes like $250,000 a year, and he does very well for himself. But my mom, like, I don't want to like, brag about how much money my mom makes, but more just like just like how far she's come, as an artist, and that it is possible. She does like makes like way more money than him, and he still makes a very, very, very good living.
250 ain't bad.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And she blows that out of the water, making artwork, which is insane to me that you're able to like make that much money doing something in the arts. And that is why I was like, man, like if I could do that, what she does, and she already has so many connections, like, you know, if I could do that, it'd be so cool. So I decided to major in fine arts, and I did that for 2 years. I did started at ACC because I was originally wanting to go to UT, and then I changed my mind because the art program at Texas State's like a whole lot better. So I went there, did a semester there. It's just finished my first semester at Texas State, great art program. But I actually ended up changing my major to business because, you know, I honestly don't feel like I need an art degree to be an artist, and I feel like that is the truth for a lot of people. I mean, because it comes down to it, when it's any skill related to the arts or really anything, you could know all the technique, you know, you can know all the music theory, you can know, the fretboard like the back of your hand, you can know every professional technique in art all across the board. But at the end of the day, what makes you better at something is practice, and a lot of it.
Yeah.
And there's no escaping that. There's no amount of knowledge you can escape that long, those like thousands of hours of practice that you're gonna get. And if you practice art every day for hours for years, you are guaranteed to master it at some point in the future. You know, whether you've got your degree in art or you don't, if you're like, I'm gonna practice this every day for 5 hours, you're gonna be pretty damn good at it.
Yeah.
And that's how I see art. That's how I see guitar. That's how I see any skill you want to be good at. So that works with the gym. You go to the gym every single day for like an hour and a half.
You're going to
Probably
get
not
stronger.
every single day because, like, you know, recovery or whatever. My point is like consistency. Consistency. If you are consistent in anything, you're going to get really good at it over a period of time. And you got to be patient with yourself, and you're really willing to put in the work. And that goes with anything. And I think the same goes with art. But I think an art degree isn't as useful as a business degree. Like, if I'm going to college, do I want to go to college? No. If I could, if I could just go balls to the walls, I'm gonna join a band, just fucking do that, whatever. That would be perfect. I would do that over anything ever. Take the huge risk that it would be, and I would do that. But, you know, if I'm gonna be in college, I might as well get a degree that's gonna get me a job. So I decided to change it to business. But I also wanted to do business because that's going to give me time, you know, to work on music and art outside when I'm done with my classes. I'm still going to have homework. It's not going to be easy. It's college. College is hard. But I will have time to go to the gym, make my artwork, work on my body work. I'm still planning on being an artist. I still want to do that.
You better.
I am. And I just like, I don't feel like I need school for it because, to be honest, I learned more out of a book at the library about drawing and like human anatomy in art and how to use, how to learn human anatomy in the context of making art. I learned more from a book I read in a week and a few YouTube videos than an entire semester of art classes. And I'm like, that was free. I learned all that stuff for free. Why am I wasting my time in art classes? And some people, it works for them. Yeah. And that's great. But for me, it doesn't. It worked for my mom. It doesn't work for me. I learn self-paced. I like to learn what I want to learn, when I want to learn it, and how I want to learn it. And I just don't feel like I need an art degree. And if I'm going to get a degree, I'm just going to get something that's going to give me a job. Yeah. So, hopefully something will happen in the next 3 to 2 years while I'm in college where you're like, cool, I'm in a band now. We're going to go on tour. Like, this might actually work. I can drop out of college. Yeah. That'd be really great. Or, oh, shit, my art career is going crazy. I'm going to drop out of college and do this instead. Like, hopefully that would happen. But if I'm going to be here in college, I'm going to get a degree that'll get me something, Yeah. But the end goal is to have a career in the arts. That's what I feel like I'm hardwired to do. That's what I love more than anything in the world is that. but more than art is music. Music is number one. Anything can be music. And, you know, I'm watching, like I said, my friend, his name's Parker. He's in identity crisis. Just like watching how far they've come. They've only been in a band, I think their band's only been around for like a year and a half. But how far they've come, you know, they deserve it. They work super hard, and, you know, they make some pretty kick-ass music, from what I've heard, and like they sound great live. You know, they've earned all the, you know, shit they've gotten, like opportunities and stuff. And I just kind of watched that. I'm like, damn, like that would be so fucking cool to be able to do that. Like, just watching, like, they're not even like, they're like getting to a point where it could really be something for them, like a career. And I'm like, man, like, y'all are, that's so fucking cool, man. Like, and like just watching that happen to someone, just like a guy who likes guitar. He's like, I love guitar, I want to do this, and he does it, and it like is working, and I'm like, man, I want to fucking do that so bad. And it just kind of shows, like, at the end of the day, any career in the arts, it's a lot of luck, but you earn your luck, you know. And for like my mom, identity crisis, my dad, they earned their luck by staying consistent and mastering their craft and making good work, really good work, quality work that they spend time on that has meaning, you know.
Yeah.
Back to what I was saying earlier, I think that's what the world is lacking nowadays. It's starting to come back though, but in the mainstream, you look at Marvel, just cash grab movies. You look at lyrics nowadays, right? Lyrics are atrocious. They're so bad. It's so awful.
Give me an example of one of the worst.
All right, I'll do a little comparison here. All right,
And while you look for your song,
Yeah.
it's funny because someone hit me up a couple months ago, and he says, you have your bachelor's degree, right? And I said, yeah. And he's like, I found this master's program where you can get your master's in communication for $10,000. And he's like, you should go get that so you can become that much more credible as a podcaster.
Yeah.
No,
No,
I don't think so.
no, dude, this is like great, man. Like,
Because of your
what I was thinking, like on the way here, like, my friend was like, hey man, you want to hang out tonight? I was like, I can, but I got to do this podcast first. And he's like, oh cool. What's podcast? I was like, well, this friend I met at the gym, and it's so cool because he just like has just all different kinds of people on here. Just like, it's not like some, like, I don't know. I've watched a few on your TikTok and your Instagram page. Like, he'll just have like just a regular college student talking about his experience with college, and like, then like, did you have like a doctor on here?
couple, yeah.
Like, that's my point. It's just like, I think it's so cool that like you're just getting all these different perspectives on just complete polar opposite people, and it's just like, I've never seen a podcast do that. You know, like, you look at podcasts, like, you know, I don't even know that many. I don't really listen to podcasts, but like, you know, I see them on like my explore page on Instagram and like TikTok and stuff, and like, it's more tailored towards, you know, a specific group of people. But I just think it's so interesting that you're just like, I want everyone's perspective on everything, everyone's story. I want to hear everyone's story. I think that's like so cool. I've never seen that done before.
Fuck yeah.
So honestly, like, I feel like you should keep doing this. It's gonna like really, you know, strike a nerve with a lot of people, because, you know, a lot of people can relate to, you know, you have like, I was like Jordan Peterson, that like guy, like a lot of people relate to like what he says. He says a lot of like pretty, you know, cool shit. I don't really like keep up with him too much, but like, but when you have like all these different kinds of people, you're reaching an audience. You're not just reaching a specific audience. You're like, everybody can watch this podcast and get something out of it.
Yeah.
I just think that's really cool. I've never seen that done before. But I'm gonna try and find some. What's like one of the most popular artists out
right now?
Like Taylor Swift.
Let's go with her.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good one. Sorry,
Let's
Taylor.
look up Taylor Swift. I respect her as an artist. I really do.
I almost respect her more as like a businesswoman than an artist.
I do too. I don't. I don't really respect her as an artist because her lyrics are not So a lot of women are probably going to disagree with me on
That's
this.
okay.
But
That's what we do here.
at least in my generation, a lot of girls like Taylor Swift, and I know why, it's like whatever. But like, dude, her lyrics are just so shallow. They
Look
don't
one up.
impact you that
Look one
much.
up.
Here, like, let's see, what's like
I'm trying to think
number
if I
one
know if I
song?
can think of a. While you look up one, I'm trying to think if I heard a song recently where
All right,
I thought the lyrics were really good.
she has
And
objectively decent lyrics. They're like not bad, but they're not good. They're just Christmas Tree Farm. All right, what is this? I don't know any Taylor Swift songs. My winter nights are taken up by static, stress and holidays, shopping, traffic, but I close my eyes and I'm somewhere else, just like magic. In my heart is a Christmas tree farm where people would come to dance under sparkling lights. Not terrible, but not like wow. And then let's backtrack to the 90s, right? In my opinion, one of the best albums ever created is Super Unknown by Soundgarden. I think Chris Cornell is a lyrical genius. Okay.
okay,
So one of my favorite songs off that album is Limo Wreck. And what that song is about is, I'll read the lyrics first. Tears of the feeble, hands of the slaves, skin of the mothers, and mouths of the babes, building the towers belongs to the sky. When the whole thing comes crashing down, don't ask me why. Under the shelf of the sky, two eyes, two suns, two heavenly blind. Swallowing rivers belongs to the sea. When the whole thing washes away, don't run to me. Very abstract lyrics,
Yeah.
right? But you feel something. It's very poetic. And that's the thing about Chris Cornell is a lot of his lyrics are so abstract that you don't know, like, what does this mean? But what this song is about, tears of the feeble, hands of the slave, skin of the mother's, mouth of the babe, building the towers that belong to the sky. That's kind of referring to, the common folk, the working class Americans, people that work in factories, the mothers living in poverty, raising children by themselves, single mothers, you know people that are less fortunate being taken advantage of and kind of stuck in this realm of poverty that they can't really get out. And then there's like, I'm not trying to get political or anything, but it's just kind of what the song says. And I just think the message is nice, whether you agree with it or not. But it's kind of about like these like, I guess, social elites, billionaires, CEOs, like profiting off of these common folk, these working class, lower class people that are holding up society. What are you going to do if you don't have people that working on the sewers, construction workers, the garbage man, right? Doctors, nurses, working class Americans that are keeping society afloat, right? And then you have these billionaire CEOs, and I think a really good example of, this happening in the current day is the CEO of United Healthcare got assassinated. I'm sure you heard about that.
Yep.
That's, people revolting against that. I mean, like, this guy is profiting off of people not being able to afford, medical procedures that could save their lives, right? And that's what this song is about. About how, it says, when the whole thing comes crashing down, don't ask me why. Is like when these common folk, everyone has a breaking point, these people are going to revolt. It's only a matter of time before you're like, I don't want to be treated like this. Why do you deserve to profit millions or billions of dollars off of my suffering? This isn't fair. And, look at like the wealth distribution. I don't remember. Here, let me look up the statistic. The give or take, it's approximately top 1% of Americans own approximately 30% of all wealth in America. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
That is insane, right? So when Chris Cornell says, when the whole thing comes crashing down, don't ask me why. You know, he's speaking from the perspective of the common folk, the working class Americans. He's like, don't ask me why it comes crumbling down when you're sitting here profiting and off of all these people suffering, when they are like, fuck this, like, fuck you, I'm not going to keep getting walked all over like this, and society collapses. Because what they're standing on top of, right, what is keeping them afloat, what's keeping them at their position of wealth is these common folk, you know, like the majority of Americans, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then when you scroll down a little bit, okay, let's see. There's this really good lyric. I think it's, okay. Under the red break of the lights lies the wreck of you for the rest of your life, and the wreck of you is the death of you all, and the wreck of you is the break and the fall. I'm the wreck of you, I'm the death of you all, I'm the wreck of you, I'm the break and the fall. While the rest of you harvest the gold, while the rest of you harvest the souls. Like, that is a powerful ass lyric, you know?
Yeah.
Fucking, like, damn. Now, like I said, if you agree with what I'm saying or not saying I do, I'm not saying I'm not, I think what the message that he's trying to portray is so beautifully portrayed in this song. And, like, I think that is something that is heavily lacking in art nowadays, is that level of just impact, like a piece of music or a painting or a movie leaves on you, where you're just like, holy shit, damn, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like that needs to come back, you know? And if I ever get to a point, which I hope one day I do, where I get into, like, a band where I'm, you know, making a living, and I want to bring back that level of impact that art used to have back in the day that is so lacking nowadays. Everyone's so distracted with social media, you know, just consuming everything, like, just so many distractions where people can't stand to be in reality anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you try to, even just hanging out with your friends, someone's going to be on their phone, you know? Go on a walk. Imagine going on a walk without listening to music or being on your phone and just existing in the moment. That's, like, people so incapable of that nowadays, you know?
Yeah.
People can barely even sit through a movie now without going on their phone. You know, a production that took years, you know, years of planning and writing and
hundreds
casting,
of people probably involved.
Hundreds of people involved.
Potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars, if
Right.
not millions.
Millions of dollars spent on just a masterpiece movie, and you're some idiot, like, in the theater, on their phone with their stupid light, lighting up their big dumb face, just like, and you're like, dude, you fucker. You know?
Dude, that's one of the reasons I love podcasting so much, is because typically I keep my phone near me. So this is the perfect example. If we want to look up some songs and read some lyrics to each other, they're
There's
close.
a time and a place, yeah.
But also, dude, how often do you sit down with a friend or even a stranger or anyone and have like a 2.5 hour conversation with no distractions?
Exactly. That's what I think the world needs more of. And I need more of that. But, you know, you try and, like, just, like, you know, you say you're on a bus. Like, I ride the bus to campus, right? There's a bus stop right next to my apartment. And, you know, you get on the bus and you're hoping, maybe I'll strike up a conversation with somebody. But everybody is just the whole bus ride. You know, just like, you can't talk to them because you're like, oh, am I interrupting something? Am I interrupting your endless TikTok feed?
Yeah. It's funny, a couple of weeks ago, me and two of my friends were at dinner, and one of my buddy's girlfriend was like, guys, look at that table over there. And I turn around, and it's probably a family. It's like man and woman, look sort of close in age, and then 3 like teenage type kids. So probably a family of 5, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And all 5 of them were at this dinner table with headphones on and phones out. And I get it. Like, I use my phone a lot. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I never use my phone.
I'm guilty of it. I'm so guilty of it, man.
But at dinner with headphones on, I was like, why are you guys even out here? This is insane.
No, dude. Like, it's so sad, too. Like, you know, I'll go out in a restaurant with my dad, and we'll, you know, go get a bite to eat. And, you just look over. Like, I remember this one time. I was at this Italian restaurant. Really good Italian. It's called Cipollina's. I've been going there since I was a kid. So good. Definitely go there. But, man, I was there with my dad. We're just talking. I look over, and there's this grandma, right, with her granddaughter, who was probably about, I don't know, 14, 15. And this poor grandma, takes her granddaughter out to dinner, and she's just on her phone, ignoring her poor grandma. And her grandma's just sadly eating her food. And I'm like, dude, talk to your grandma, man. Like, what are you doing?
How old did the girl look, if you had to guess?
Like 15, 16 maybe, 14. I don't know, somewhere in that age range.
This was recently?
This was probably like 6 months ago, but I remembered it, and I was like, dude, like, I hate it when I see that stuff in public. Or you go like, people, a bunch of people in my generation talking about how, romance is dead. Romance is dead. No one's romantic anymore. Like all that stuff. Like, oh, like real relationships don't exist anymore. Everyone sucks. Like, because I've also seen this. You go out anywhere. I saw this. Where was I? I was at the same restaurant actually with my dad. I go eat there with him a lot. But I saw this couple, and they were on a date with each other. Is what it looked like, and they were both just scrolling on their phones. And, that is so much more common than you think. It's you go out and you just kind of get your face out of your phone, like observe. You'll see that, like, there's so many, like, dates that look like that, just two people just staring at their phones. And then they wonder, why can't I find anyone that want to connect with? I'm like, 'cause you're on your fucking phone, dude. Maybe if you sat there and you talked to them, fucking had a conversation with them, maybe you'd be like, oh shit, I didn't know that about this person. That's cool. I want to get to know this person more.
Yeah.
Talk to the fucking person. Get out of your phone, man. Your phone is for calling. You call people. Stop fucking watching the latest TikTok. Who gives a shit about what, like, oh my God, did you hear this influencer broke up with this influencer? No, because I don't fucking care. Those people don't contribute dick to society, man. You know what I mean?
I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
Yeah. It's just like, be in reality, man. Because, like, it's almost like people, like, think your phone, like this, like the internet's not real. It's not a tangible thing. This is real.
Yeah.
And I feel like people say they want that stuff, but, they always just pick this up, start scrolling on TikTok or Instagram Reels. And I'm not saying I'm high and mighty. I've wasted so many hours on TikTok and Instagram doing nothing, man. You're like sitting on the toilet, right? And you're just
I think I give the toilet a pass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's fair.
The toilet is my place where I'm doing my Boom Beach, my Clash of Clans. I'm texting you.
Clash of Clans. What's your town hall, by the way?
It's 1 under the max.
Oh, shit. Damn, I'm still town hall 11. I've had my same account since I was 6.
I've had my account for probably like 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, me too.
I've been playing for a while.
I have too.
And I was upset when they made a new town hall recently because I told myself I was going to delete it because I was almost done with all my weapon upgrades.
Oh, yeah.
So I had all my gold mines upgraded, the elixir, like everything. And I was like maybe 6, 7, 8 weapons away. And I told myself once I get everything upgraded, I'm going to delete it.
You're
and
done.
that's some time
You've done
back.
your duty.
And then they did a fucking update. I'm like, a whole new town. Oh, no.
It never ends. It never ends. It feels like I'm just never going to get there, ever. It takes so long to upgrade.
It's fine. We don't need to get there. We have other places we're going.
I know. I need to stop worrying about Clash of Clans.
It's a good ship break distraction, and that's
good, like, you're on the toilet taking a shit.
Or like you're drinking your morning coffee.
Yeah.
Me and my dog, we like to get, well, not him. He sits with me, but almost every morning, especially during the winter, if it's nice and chilly out, when we wake up in the morning, I'll grab a cup of coffee. I'll pop a coffee flavored Zen.
Yeah.
We'll head out onto the porch. He sits on one chair, I sit on the other. Bring out a couple blankets with us.
Yeah.
Drink the coffee, play some Clash of Clans.
That sounds like a great morning.
It's a wonderful
wonderful start to your day.
It's much different during the summer.
Yeah.
Winters, it's very enjoyable. During the summer, we're like, fuck the porch.
I know.
Let's just stay in bed.
Hot. It's so hot here. But, I mean, yeah, like, I'm no saint. I spend so much time on my phone, probably way more than I should, but I'm trying to get better about it, trying to scroll a little less.
I have some lyrics to read to you,
Go for it.
and I wonder if you'll like these. They don't. They won't. They're not as like contemplative as
Yeah,
yours.
but there's also like beauty and simplicity too.
So this is the chorus. Dude, I almost am tempted to sing it, but I sing so bad. I've never just spoken these words before. This is weird because I don't want to hurt you anymore. I think I've fallen than ever harder than ever before, and if I can't have you, then I can have myself to blame, because I know we'll never be the same. If only I could hold you for one more night. Just know that I would for those few seconds if it feels like you are mine.
That's a great lyric because that actually reminds me of a lyric that, my girlfriend showed me. It's one of her favorite songs. It's called Forever in Blue Jeans. And
What's the band name?
it's by this guy named Neil Diamond.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's a great.
Probably a lot of people have.
Oh, yeah. He's
Yeah.
really, really big. I never really listened to him much until my girlfriend put me on. But it's. Should I pull up the lyrics?
Look it up real
Okay.
quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these are very simple lyrics because you take, Chris Cornell's lyrics, ones I read earlier. Those are very abstract, metaphorical, symbolic, super deep and complex, right?
Yeah.
But then you have something like this, which is so simple and in your face, but it's also just, you're like, wow, that's nice. So, his first verse, money talks, but it don't sing and dance, and it don't walk. Long as I can have you here with me, I'd much rather be forever in blue jeans. And, the way my girlfriend explained that to me is like, money can get, nice shit, get like cool car, cool clothes, whatever. But he's saying, I'd much rather be forever in blue jeans, which means like I'd much rather have not a lot of money and be with you than have a lot of money, not be with you. It's a very simple concept, but it's like just such a nice song, Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it's just like it's something that you think about, you think about it and you're like, oh, it's a nice lyric. And it just changes your perspective and makes you think of things a little more simplistically. And you're like, maybe all that matters is, sounds corny, but all that matters is love. Not just romantic love, but just, friends, family, being around people you like.
Yeah.
And I think, it's just music back then impacts, at least with me, I feel like it impacts so much more. And I'm really hoping it comes back. And it seems like it kind of is.
Is there any bands that you feel like have dropped albums recently that hit you pretty hard? Anyone you're keeping your eye on these days?
Let me think. Here, let me look through my liked songs. I'm sure
There's got to be one.
there's gotta, no, there totally
least
is.
one.
There totally is.
Yeah, the money thing is interesting because some of the happiest people I know are people that are probably making like, 40 to 60,000 a year, and some of the most miserable people I know are the ones that are making like $500,000 plus.
Exactly.
And I don't know many of them, but like the few rich people I've met, dude, they are so just like angsty, and they get upset at the drop of a penny.
Yeah, think about it. Like the more shit you own, the more money you have, more shit you have to worry about, the more shit you got to worry about, and the more anxious you're going to be and unhappy. You can't live in the moment when there's a billion things going on, a billion things you got to worry about. I'd much rather just have like, do something I love with people that I care about, like being around. Just get by. Not just get by. Of course, I want to have a cool house. I don't want a big house, but I want a cool house,
Same.
Like this. You have like cool decorations and stuff.
Thanks, dog.
Yeah.
I like this apartment. I will say, I do want to, one of my favorite friends' houses, it's my buddy Tim in his grandma's house. Dude, she has a big ass kitchen with an island in the middle of it where legitimately like 12 people can be working at this island at once, chopping different things, doing whatever the meal needs. And then she has a big ass dining room with this long ass table that probably sits 20 people comfortably. And I would like to have, even if it's like like this stupidly small house where like half the square footage is the kitchen and the dining room. I want that one day.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to invite like 20 friends over,
It'd be so fun.
and all of us bring food,
Just hang out.
and we can hang out. Like technically, I could do that here. It'd be very difficult.
Yeah.
Half of us would be sitting on the floor, crisscross applesauce.
Honestly, that's fine with me though.
Yeah, I mean, I could do it. I definitely could do it.
But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like it'd be nice. You know, I want to have that one day. You know. But I can't find it because I don't remember the name of the song. But I'm not a huge Kanye guy. Like, I don't really listen to a lot, but I respect him as an artist because he's like, I think he's a genius in some degree. I mean, there's a lot of controversy with him right now, I think. I don't know. I don't really keep up with him very much. But my girlfriend showed me a song where, I don't remember the lyrics, but it was about a girl who was struggling with, you know, kind of around my age when you're, you know, in college and you don't know what you want to do with your life and you're trying to figure shit out and you're stressed. You're like, oh God, am I going to be destitute when I'm older? you're like, oh God, what's going to happen? I'm failing these classes. I'm so fucked. Like things like that. And I don't remember the lyrics exactly, but that was a song that came out fairly recently, I think. I don't really know, but it came out recently enough to where I would say it's modern. But those were some really good lyrics, I would say.
If you remember the song, text it to me.
I will. I'll ask her about it. Maybe she'll see this and she'll be like, "Yeah, I impacted his music taste. Made him mention a Kanye song finally." But
she'll watch. You think she wouldn't watch this?
No, she probably would because I just told her I was like, "Oh, I'm going on a podcast," and she's like, "Oh, cool."
She's like, "Why you?" Just kidding.
No, yeah, she'll probably see it. But yeah, I thought that was good. I thought it was like, oh, that's good lyrics. But I feel like in the mainstream top of the chart stuff is kind of shit, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like there's always good music. Always. You just have to look for it, you know? Sometimes, like, in different time periods, it's easier to find than others. But it's always there. There's always real people. There's always real artists that have something to say that matters. You just gotta look for it. And it's everywhere, you know?
Yeah, there's so much of it. It's like finding a good show.
Yeah.
There's so many shows and movies being made that it is like, I feel like with music, similarly, there's probably, you and me both probably have a band that's out there right now that we would be their number one fan.
Oh yeah,
but we just don't know they exist because there's so much music.
Much like that. There's actually this band one of my best friends showed me. I think like a few years ago. They were from the 90s, but they are genuinely one of the best bands I've ever heard in my life. And they didn't get that big. Like, I think their number one song I think it's like 1 million streams. But for a band in the 90s, like, that's not that big. But you listen to their music and you're like, holy fucking shit. Every time I've shown anyone this band, they're like, this is insane. They're called Catherine Wheel.
Never heard of them.
You need to listen to them. You're going to be like, oh my God. Listen to the album. It's called Ferment. It's orange. It's like an orange album cover. Every person I've shown this band to has been like, oh my God, this is insane.
WHEEL?
Catherine Wheel. WHEEL, yeah.
They on Spotify?
Yeah.
What?
You're not finding them?
Did I spell this right?
Oh, it's with a C.
Oh, that would do it.
Catherine. CATHERINE.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
These guys?
Yes. Oh my God.
What album? Ferment.
Orange one. They're all so good though, all of them. But I would start with Ferment. That's I think their masterpiece.
What do you think is the best song in Ferment?
I would start with their most listened to song. That's usually what hooks people.
Let's see here. Give me one.
It's kind of like early shoegaze music.
So real quick, I'll probably have to edit this out. How many seconds can you get away with playing? I should know this, not you, but do you know?
No, I don't know.
All right, so this one's, we're just going to play a couple seconds. It's called Black Metallic.
Black Metallic is so good.
There's one I wanted to play you if I can find it in the next couple seconds. It's one of my buddy's favorite songs, and he has their record, and he played it for me. Fuck, I always forget who it's by and what it's called, and this song has way too much music in it. I'm not gonna be able to find it right now. This is not the song I was gonna play you, but have you heard this song?
It's definitely gonna be played like a club in Miami or something.
You never heard that song
I've
before?
never heard that song. It's a good song though. I like the mix. It's a really good mix.
Dude, I have like a couple, probably 5 to 10 songs that I like to play before someone comes over for a podcast that just get me amped the fuck up, and that's one of them.
Nice, dude. I like that. I never got into music like that, but that's pretty good.
And the funny thing is, that's like the only song from this band that I listen to. Not to say the rest of their stuff is shit, but this song came on. You know how on Spotify, if you listen to about an album, it'll then just start going into an automatic playlist?
Yeah.
And this song came on. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's so good.
It's happened to me so many times. That actually reminds me. Because remember I was telling you about, you were playing that song Gasoline?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's after Soundgarden, I think they broke up in like, was it like 98, 97? I think. I don't know. I can't remember. But they started, or Chris Cornell started Audio Slave after Soundgarden. And they came out with my two favorite songs off their first album is a song called Show Me How to Live and Gasoline. But I think lyrically, my favorite is "Show Me How to Live" because it's a song about existential questioning, and it's about Chris Cornell talking directly. You know, he wasn't very religious, but he was spiritually open to anything, and it was kind of him talking directly to God. He wasn't a Christian, but he was talking directly to God in the song, saying, "Show me how to live." And one of the lyrics, if I can remember correctly, is, "Nail in my hand from my creator. You gave me a life, so show me how to live," right? So he's saying, like, if you put me here, you know, I didn't ask to be here, but you put me here. So show me what I'm supposed to do, you know. And I love that song. And it's just so well written, and it just sounds so cool. You should play it, though.
What's it? Give me the
name. It's called Show Me How to Live by Audio Slave. I wrote my English paper about this song last semester.
You want any particular part played?
You can stop it there. Crazy vocal range.
Crazy.
You know, he sang when they were recording, I think it was Super Unknown, but the producer for that album, Michael Beinhorn, he said that Chris Cornell sang so loud that they went through, I think, over 10 microphones because he broke every single one of them because he sang so loud. Like, isn't that insane? And they also said there was a security guard at one of the shows he played, and in an auditorium, right, big ass auditorium, in Soundgarden, they were playing, and you know, obviously it's a fucking heavy rock concert. It's loud, super loud, and this security guard said, he's like, I could hear Chris Cornell's raw voice over all these loudspeakers.
That's insane.
So like, he could hear his just raw voice over not only the loud music coming from the, you know, the overhead speakers and the monitors, but also the crowd of like 100,000 people screaming and cheering and yelling. He could hear Chris Cornell's raw vocals over all of that. Like, that's insane. It's insanity. Level of talent that guy had is just once in a generation.
There's a song I really want to play you, but I need to call someone real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna go take a piss because beer makes me have to take a piss.
Okay, me too. I'll go right after you.
All right, I'll be right back. Where's your bathroom at?
We're back.
Yep.
That does feel better. I
know.
didn't realize how bad I had to piss
Beer
too.
makes me have to piss real bad.
Before I change gears here, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Did you have any expectations for this in regards to like what we would talk about, what direction it might go, or was it sort of just like a let's just show up and see?
I figured it'd probably be a lot about music because like that's what I do. But not really. I mean, I was just like, I'm gonna treat it like a conversation.
Yeah.
Try my best.
You're a natural.
Thank you.
I think, and part of it too is what I like about you is you have a lot to say, and sometimes when I ask people questions, they'll have a very quick answer, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's like elaborate. You can just like free ball it for a minute. Yeah, like so just what's going through your head, man.
Talk about what you really give a shit about. I feel like everyone should have a thing that they're just like, I could talk about this for hours and never get bored.
Yeah.
Like I think everyone should have a thing like that. It could be bird watching. If someone could sit there and talk to me about bird watching, tell me about that shit for an hour, I'm in.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you,
I don't know about the bird watching one, but
I could get around to some bird watching.
I had a guy today. He's coming on next Friday, and he asked if he could nerd out on Greek philosophy for like hours.
That is so cool.
Like, yeah, dude.
That is so cool.
And then
I've
afterwards,
into that.
Afterwards, he texted me, and he's like, "We don't have to do that." I was like, "No, I want you
dude.
said
Talk
this
to me
is
about
what
that
you
shit.
can nerd out over for hours."
When people can nerd out about shit, I think I'm like, dude, I'll be fucking friends with you, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what it is. If you're just, like, educating me or telling me about some shit I don't know about, like, I want to know about that,
Yeah. I'm going to switch gears majorly here because of something you said. And as you know, because you've watched portions of the podcast, there's no wrong answer. I'm genuinely just curious, like, where you stand with this.
Yeah, go for it.
What do you think about God?
God.
And I'm not even necessarily referencing like the Christian God, because I think that's what like a lot of people result to. Yeah. So you could almost think of this like, where are you at with like, I've heard people call it their higher power, source.
Yeah.
Like there's so many names for it.
There's so many names for it. It's such a vague but interesting term.
Yeah.
And I honestly think whatever it is, the human mind's not going to become near capable of understanding it if it does exist. I grew up in a Christian household. Not so much my dad. My dad is, he has a spiritual base. He's like, he's kind of very loosely Christian, very, very loosely Christian.
I know a few of those.
Yeah. He's kind of just like, he's like, like Jesus was probably a hippie. He's just like, I think like the Catholic Church probably just making him out to be this stuck-up dude. But he's probably really chill to hang out with. That's what my dad says. He's just like, just do good things will happen to you. And I'm like, you're not wrong, My mom, on the other hand, is, very devout Christian. My grandma on her side is. My dad's side's more hippie, not hippie. They're all artists, but my mom's the only artist of her family. They're very, go to church every Sunday. Like, I grew up like that, but I feel like as I've gotten older, I kind of question it a little more. I question it, I feel like on a daily basis, really. I think about that stuff a lot. I do feel like there is a sense of divinity to the universe. I don't think, the way I see it is like, we don't know everything. We don't know shit. We're humans, We thought we knew shit 1,000 years ago. Now you look at it and be like, we were fucking dumbasses. How did we thought we were the center of the universe. We thought the earth was flat. What a bunch of dumb fucks we used to be, But, I guess the way I look at it now is you just have to, I kind of accept that I'm never going to know until I kick the bucket,
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's theories that I think are very interesting, how spirituality connects to things like psychedelics, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we look at like a lot of people, atheists will look at, you know, divinity and spirituality separately from science. Like those, like divinity, spirituality are separate from science. The way I kind of see it is I feel like there's something there, some sort of divine energy out there somewhere. I can't put my finger on it. I can't describe it. I don't think we're meant to describe it because we're not meant to understand it. And the way I like to think of things is, you know, you say, oh, I'm having a spiritual experience. But I think we're spirits having a human experience. That's the way I kind of see it. And I don't know. There's so many theories out there to what it is. No one knows. People say they know, they don't know. And with a lot of things, I'm kind of the type of person, it's like I need to see it to believe it. But I think with this, it's more of like you just kind of know it's there. You know, you go hike up a mountain, right? And you see a beautiful ass view. Maybe the sun is a sunset. You're like, holy fucking shit. That is the most beautiful fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And I feel like if there wasn't something out there, nothing, no divinity, I feel like, you know, you look at that, it's like, oh, it's just a big ball of burning gas, like just, and our earth is just turning away from it. And like the way the colors are is just because light's refracting, because like, you know, it's not really that cool if you think about it. Like every fucking person can appreciate a sunset, you know? Or, you know, take love, for example. Love is, I feel like, direct evidence there's something out there. And one might argue, oh, it's chemical reactions in the brain. But we don't love like a lot of animals do, you know? You look at like, I don't know, rabbits, squirrels, deer. They mate because they're like responding to a chemical reaction in their brain. They're like, oh, mating season, I need to go fuck something. Like, that's kind of how that works. But you know, there are animals that mate for life, but humans are, we have a understanding and of love that I don't think any other being on this earth can experience. You know, you have a girlfriend, wife, girlfriend?
Dude, I'm gay.
You're gay?
Yeah.
You have a husband?
Nope.
A boyfriend?
Nope. Single as fuck.
Oh, well, if you had a boyfriend.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You know the feeling of being in love, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have a girlfriend, and I love her so much. You know, you like, you know, you just have that connection, right? That like,
It's almost like not overwhelming, but like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
There's some moments where you're just like,
fuck, I love this
yeah.
person, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, at least in my life, I feel like romantic love is like the most intense feeling ever, you know?
Yeah.
And intense can be bad or good. You ever been through a fucking awful breakup?
Yeah.
You're like, God damn, this is like the worst feeling ever. You know, like I had a girlfriend in my senior year of high school. I've had 2 girlfriends that have cheated on me. You know, like junior year, dated this girl, cheated on me with her ex, fucking burned bad. And then senior year, got cheated on with 5 different dudes, allegedly. That sucked.
Yeah.
But like that feeling of like you fall, I wouldn't say I loved her because I feel like the first time I've ever loved anyone is my current girlfriend, like genuinely. So I've never experienced a romantic loss in that way. But if you've ever been in love like that, when you first fall for somebody, or like, you know, some people call it the honeymoon phase or whatever, like, oh, it's the last 6 months, then it goes away. You know, my current girlfriend, like, I still feel the exact same way I always have.
How long you guys been together?
1.5 years. I mean, it hasn't been that long compared to, like, you know, a lot of people. And, you know, I can't tell the future. I don't know what's going to happen. I sure hope things work out. But right now, things are going great. But, you know, like, you fall for somebody, you know, that you know, those first few weeks, months, you fall for someone. And you're like, fuck, man. Like, this is the best feeling in the world. Like, but you have these like moments and you know, talking and stuff. Like, I don't think animal, like I feel like human, that's a very uniquely human experience, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, there's no way that feeling is just a chemical reaction in the brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's gotta be, to me at least, there's gotta be something, you know, because you think about this person when you're not together. I'm doing long distance with my girlfriend. She's 1,000 miles away right now.
Where's she at?
Arizona.
Permanently? Or not permanently, but like
But
she
in
resides
college,
there?
yeah, she lives there, going to college. But, you know, I still think about her like every day.
Yeah.
You know, like all the time. But I'm not physically with her, but like I think about her every day, all the time. You know, and I'm sure like, you know, you felt that way too.
Yeah.
At some point. You're just like, you're not physically with the person. I mean, I don't know if you've done long distance before?
No.
No.
I don't think I could do it. Like, even
It's tough.
I forgot, because you told me before you went to college, you told me you were having a little debacle because you were like, she's gonna go here, I'm gonna go there.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I was
working
worried.
out though.
It's working out, and I'm really surprised it did, but also I'm not.
Why is it working out, do you think?
Dude, I don't know. I just like I
Dude, I don't know.
I do know, but like I just like I'm like I don't, you know, I don't like, you know, I don't know. You're just like, I want to give this a shot. I know it's gonna be difficult, but I think it'll be worth it. Like, it's just like you kind of have this instinct to like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
You know, you take like a fucking bear or like a fox or like a bunny, dog, like, you know, like they start banging some other dog, right? Maybe like pump out a few puppies, and then
No one's feelings are hurt.
no one's feeling, and then like, you know, the dog will see another female dog and like, oh, or like maybe like they're like that dog they just had puppies with dies or like gets eaten by a tiger or something. I don't know.
Tiger.
Probably not a tiger.
Coyote. There you go.
Yes.
There it is. Tigers in
But
Texas.
like, you know, you know, dogs just like, oh, I'm gonna find another thing to fuck. Like, you know, they'll probably be like, fuck, I can't fuck anything anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find another one now. Like, I feel like that's how a lot of animals work, but humans, no. Like, you know, you don't see a dog like that's like, I'm gonna wait for this other dog who I don't know when she's gonna come back, but like I'm just gonna sit here and wait. No, and I think that's obviously another uniquely human thing.
Yeah.
And tying that all back to God.
Yes.
God. I think God is that. God is love. God is that kind of feeling you can't explain, and you know this is not just a fucking chemical reaction. The way you feel about your dog. You love your dog.
Oh yeah.
Why do we feel that way about just some animal? You know, what's the difference, you know, like between your dog and like a deer? You know, why do I not feel the same way about it? You could feel the same way about a deer maybe, but like, you know, you're just like, I love this dog because it has a person, you know, you can differentiate your dog from another dog, right?
Yep.
Take the same breed, same size dog, put them next to you, you know, your dog immediately. Like, that's my fucking dog. I love that dog. See, like, that is something that I don't think can be explained through, you know, science. You know, we can get close to it maybe, but I think spirituality and, you know, science, people like, you know, they're different. I don't think they're different. I think spirituality and like divinity and God is just something, it's things we don't understand yet, you know, like we don't understand, you know, like go back in time. Let's go back in time. Go to Dark Ages, like medieval times, right?
Yep.
You take a rubber band, right? They've never seen a fucking rubber band in their life. You take a little loop and you go like that, and it's longer. They're like, what the fuck? They'd be like, you're a fucking witch. You need to be burned.
Right.
They're not going to understand
Imagine
that.
showing them some dry ice.
Right. They'll be like, what the fuck is that?
Actual sorcery.
Or a refrigerator. You're telling me if I put this glass of water in this refrigerator, it's just going to get colder. What the fuck? That's some witchcraft right there. Like, I don't get that. That's evil. That's fucking wrong. And I think God is the same thing now. We just don't understand that yet. And maybe we never will. Maybe the human brain is not capable of understanding something so complex and I believe that there's something there. I don't know what it is. I don't know what its fucking name is. I don't know if it is maybe it's an intelligence, but a theory that I think is, I don't know, I might agree with the most. I think is reasonable is, in a sense, we are God. Humans' life is God. Consciousness is God. I think we are the universe experiencing itself in a sense. I think life, whether it's a human, a dog, your dog is conscious. Your dog has a very unique personality that you can differentiate from another dog that looks exactly the same as your dog. So I think that life within itself and consciousness, as we live, we are the universe experiencing itself in real time. And I think that's kind of my stance on God. And I think when we die, I think our energy or our consciousness is just kind of is unified with this collective universal consciousness that is the universe. I think that's what it is. I think about this shit a lot.
Yeah, daily, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to think about.
I'll throw something at you.
What?
All right, so I'm going to give you a quote, and I'm going to reference something you mentioned about your mom.
Okay.
And then let me just go on like a little three-way tangent here.
Go for it.
You ever hear the quote by a guy named Joseph Campbell that goes, "All the gods, all the heavens, all the hells are within you"?
Yeah.
All right, just keep that quote in mind for a second. Put a pin on that.
Good.
You know how you were talking about how your mom or maybe your dad or both of them were talking about like how if you work hard, the luck will come? Mm-hmm. Well, I look at this podcast sometimes and I think about the fact that I lived in Northern California, I had this idea to have a podcast. I decided I wanted it to be in person because you got to admit, there's something that happens when you show up and you walk into my home and see like the lights, the cameras, the microphones that would just not happen if we did this on Zoom.
Yeah.
There's like something that you feel like you almost walk into like a different world and we're like in podcast land now. And so then I think about the 100+ guests that have been on the show and just like the great fucking conversations we've had. And like even you and me, like I just happened to sign up for the Golds in the city that we work out in, right? And we just happened to meet however it was we met. And then we've known each other for probably like 2-ish years, give or take. Yeah. And here we are having this conversation. And this is where I'm at with God or whatever it is. There's one side of me that says like, there isn't anything. I just got here through hard work. Like I happened to go to Austin. I happened to sign up at that Golds. We met. I had you on, and very similar stories with all 100 guests. And then there's another side of me where it's like, what if there was some idea in the back of my head subconsciously that was just sort of whispering, like, go to that gym, talk to that guy, invite him on the show. And I just happened to listen to those gut feelings and followed all those instructions. And so it's sort of like 10 to 20% me listening to whatever that voice is. Yeah. And the other 80% is just hard work and sort of agreement with your parents, because I don't believe in luck. If anyone looks at this podcast and they're like, man, that guy's lucky, I'd be like, I'm not lucky at all. No, dude, you haven't seen the nights where I'm at 2 a.m. and I'm editing fucking videos and I've spent an hour this morning inviting guests on. Like, you don't see all the really annoying shit that I do behind the scenes that no one thinks about. Yeah. This is just the product of hard work and absolutely nothing else whatsoever. Yeah. And so I go back and forth between those two things of like, people who are living good lives and they feel like all the heavens are within them. Yeah. Is that just because they're working their fucking ass off all day? And people who feel like they're they're in the middle of a living hell, is that just the result of bad choices? Cheating on people and stealing and whatnot. And so I fucking love that quote, because I think it's so true that if you have the courage to if your life is like in a shitty place and you sat down for an hour and really just thought about like, how did I get here? Are you really a victim, or did you just make a lot of really bad choices and you don't want to take responsibility for any of them?
I completely, yeah, I agree. I think, is it free will or is it some sort of divine thing telling you what to do? I don't think it's black and white.
Me neither.
I think it's again, if it has anything to do with divinity, spirituality, shit like that, I think it's not something that's black and white, because black and white shit is a very human concept. And whatever that is, it's not human. It's a lot smarter than us. Maybe it is us. I don't know. But I feel like it's a little bit of both. I think it's 50-50, you know. Like free will. I could get up right now and just start just destroying everything in your apartment if
You
I
could.
want. It would be awful and terrible, and you'd probably never want to talk to me again, but I could do that.
Right.
But I'm not going to. But why is that? Morals, my conscience. It's kind of like there's this little thing in your mind that's like, just like, you shouldn't do that. Not don't do that, but you shouldn't do that. It would be, there's just like, it's almost like I saw this thing on consciousness about, the subconscious mind from the conscious mind. And, I can't remember the exact quote, what this dude said, but he said, like, when you're in your bed, right? It's like early. You told yourself you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. and go for a run, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wake up, your alarm hits, and there's two sides of you arguing in your own mind. There's three parts, actually. There's the side of you that's get up, go on your run, do what you said you're going to do, hold yourself accountable. And the other side's like, man, it's fucking tired. Like, I want a good night of sleep. Like, my bed's so comfortable. But like, I should, like, but no, go, like, wake up, do it. You'll be glad that you did. Like, yeah, but I'm so comfortable. I don't want to get up. And the third part is you observing this inner argument of two sides of you. So it's almost like there's just several consciousnesses living inside of you. Like, who's the observer? Who's this side and who's this side? Are all three of these things me, or am I the observer, or am I this side, or am I this side? Like, and I think, there's that side of you that's, good, I guess, whatever you define good as. I mean, good can be bad in the eyes of a lot of other people. I mean, like, let's look at, like, World War II, Hitler.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, Hitler was like, I'm doing good for the world. I'm cleansing the world of these inferior beings, right? But, you look at everybody else, that's the fucking awful, dude. Like, that's
Yeah.
evil. Like, you killed, like, 6 million innocent people, you know? And, like, it's just like, I think good and evil is not black and white. Good and evil is based on your own experiences and what you're told is good and evil. But I feel like overall, throughout the thousands of years that humans have been around, there's just this generally good thing and a generally bad thing. Like, do you have a friend? I'm not going to kill my friend. That would be bad. Not killing my friend is good.
Yeah.
So, people can argue that, oh, good and evil is based on your individual experiences and perspective and what you've been told is good and evil. But, you take just any person, a group of fucking 100 people across the entire world, most of them are going to be like, killing people is bad. Killing your friends is bad. Don't do that,
Yeah.
So, but I do think that there is, like, some sort of weird, we don't understand the human brain, and we don't understand what consciousness really is, because, like, I know I'm me, you're you.
Mm-hmm.
We both had completely different experiences throughout our entire lives. But there is like this, just, we both know it's good and evil, generally, right? And I do think there's this little voice in everyone's head that's not telling you what is, like, don't do this thing. It's more like, you shouldn't do this thing because these are the reasons why. And that's when morality comes into the question, which is a very debated topic among a lot of people. And you kind of just get into this world of questions that really can't be answered, because there's so many wrong answers and there's also infinitely right answers, And it's just, that's kind of a question that isn't able to be answered, I think. I don't know if I answered your question. I kind of went on like 10
I don't even
different
remember
rants.
what the question was. But what I will say is when you were talking about the 3 different streams of consciousness, I think there could be even more.
I feel like there could be too.
And I'll give you some of mine.
Okay.
So you have, and stick with me for like
All right.
4 minutes.
All right.
I know you will.
I will.
But because you're my friend, so you're not going to walk out if I say something insane.
Just get up and leave.
But for the audience, just stick with me for a second. I'm going to reference sort of how I found out about this. It was a book called No Bad Parts. I forget the author, which I feel bad about, but go look it up. You'll find it. I think there's a couple different versions of David, and some of them are, there's the podcasting version of me, which is my favorite version of myself. I think like the David you're seeing when these lights go on and that big red button gets hit.
I haven't seen this David yet.
Really?
I like this David.
I like this David too. Yeah, he's great. I think that there's a very playful side of me, like the Disneyland example, where just this like little kid comes out and I'm just fucking eating churros and going on roller coasters, and my family probably saw a completely different side of me when we were at the theme park or when we were playing a board game. And I think that there's another side of me which I will call, I named him my castle because I really like medieval shit. But there's another part of me who sort of plays the role of my defender. And I think that this version of David was probably born or woke up in probably high school when I got made fun of a lot for being gay. I went to a really small Christian school. I was one of only 2 gay dudes there.
That would have been awful.
It was not fun.
Yeah.
But I think that, I know a lot throughout my 20s, if people would ask me something like, hey, do you have a girlfriend? Instead of telling them, no, I'm gay, I would just say no. And I would convince myself like, oh, I'm not lying to them. I'm just not telling them the whole truth. And so during my 20s, I feel like the defensive version of me became so powerful. He was almost like squashing the other parts, which was not good, because then that was only one side of me that was almost dominating my entire life. And then in my late 20s and my early 30s, I started to recognize who he was. And I went through a phase of a lot of way too much drinking by myself, because I looked at him as a bad guy. It's like, you are a bad person. You're lying to everyone. You're not being true to yourself. And what I realized over the last 18 months or so was that guy is not my enemy, but he's actually one of my biggest allies. Him and me just needed to work out, like, how are you going to show up?
Yeah.
Because it's okay that I'm gay, and you don't need to defend me anymore. And you played a really important role for a time, but you're not allowing the playful David and the podcasting David and all these other versions of me to have any room at the table, because you're trying to be the loudest voice, and that's not good for you, and that's not good for me. Yeah. And we're just hurting each other by doing this.
Yeah, being gay is not your identity. It's just like, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think that's good, because, it's just like, that's just a tiny, tiny part of you. Right. It's not a really important detail, or it shouldn't be if you're a decent fucking person, but like,
yeah. But that's just a very long way of me agreeing with you that I do think there are, whatever you want to call them, whether it's like streams of consciousness or different voices in your head, like, try to listen to all of them, because I think they all, like you said, they're all important, even the one that's telling you like, don't get out of bed, like, take a second to ask yourself, like, why
Yeah.
Is it just laziness? Is it just because it's 40 degrees out and like who wants to run when it's 40 degrees
or did I
out?
sleep
Like
4 hours last night?
right. Are you just exhausted and
Yeah.
maybe you do owe yourself a morning off? Like maybe you do need that day. Maybe
Yeah.
today you actually have like a justified reason to turn off the alarm and sleep for another hour and a half. Now, if you're doing that every morning, that's a completely different story that we need to reevaluate.
That's a problem.
But if you're like pretty like you and me, if we're pretty consistent at going to the gym,
Yeah.
and one day your body's just tired, I think it's okay just to
take a day
just
off,
to
man.
take a day off. Yeah.
I think if just overall, you're consistent, but if you take a few days off, like that's fine. You need it. Everybody needs it. You got friends who work way too much, and I got friends who don't work at all.
Right.
At anything.
Yep.
And you're like, dude, get off your ass, or dude, like, slow down, man. Enjoy yourself. You know? Because I think that mindset is awful. Because if you're like, oh, I can't enjoy myself until I achieve this thing, or I get this thing, or I get to this point in my life, you're never going to enjoy yourself. And I feel like my mom is a perfect example of that for a time. I think she's, a lot better now, but like, she was like, oh, I can't like relax until I get this amount of paintings sold, or I make this much money a year, or I get this house or this car, like I get to this like level of reputation and among the art community. Like, if you just kind of just say to yourself, like, I'm exactly where I need to be right now, then it's fine. You're like, I'm happy with where I am, Like, I could sit here and be like, fuck, like, I'm so nervous I changed my major. Like, I need to, like, do well in school. Or, like, oh, shit, like, the break's about to, like, end. Like, I'm going to need to go back to school. I'm going to, like, be, like, I'm going to have my friends, Like, shit, my girlfriend's about to go back. I'm, like, going to miss her and stuff. Like, how am I supposed to enjoy this break if that's the way I'm thinking, And I think you need to be prepared for the future, You need to, like, have your shit together for the most part. But I think you need to live in the present. How are you supposed to enjoy your life if you're living in something that hasn't even happened yet, or might not even happen at all,
Yeah.
Like, I could sit here worrying about that stuff instead of just being like, I'm having a conversation with my friend from the gym. Like, think about it. I'm enjoying this conversation right now. I'm going to have a way better time than I'm sitting here stressing about something that hasn't happened. And I'm not saying I don't do that. I do that all the time.
Same.
If you're a human being, you do that all the time.
that.
You worry about the future all the time. But we shouldn't, and we should try and not worry about those things. So, yeah. I don't know if I answered your question.
I don't know if I did either. I knew it was going to be risky to ask you about. Well, not risky, but I knew as soon as I said God, I was like,
Dude,
there's 17 different directions
like
this could go.
Literally nothing, no conversation topic that'll put me off.
I do have a funny story. Well, I think it's funny in
Go for
hindsight.
it.
So the boyfriend I had, I'll leave him unnamed, but we were together for 3 months, and he went back to his ex, which was fantastic.
Oh shit, that sucks.
And at the time, I wouldn't say it was a relief, but it hit me differently because I knew I was leaving for Austin from California. So it was almost like, all right, maybe this is a good thing. Like, it sucks that he didn't end things like a good person would and be like,
yeah,
because they had been sleeping together for a couple weeks by the time he told me.
That sucks.
I've
been there.
So that was in August. Come December, I made a post on Instagram and I was like, man, can't believe I'm leaving for Austin, Texas in 4 days. This is where I'll be tomorrow. If anyone wants to hang out, like, let me know, because once I'm gone, I don't know when I'll be back. So of all people, he hit me up.
Oh.
And he was like, hey, could I swing by your place real quick? And I was like, sure, you can. But just so you know, like, I'm packing, I'm super busy. And so I'm just going to tell you right now, like, you're only going to have 50% of my attention. And he said, that's fine. I'd like to swing through. I said, okay, fine. Come on over. So 30 minutes later, get a knock on the door. I open up the door and this guy is ugly crying.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, what is going on? And he was just like, I can't believe I didn't give us a better chance, and my ex ended up cheating on me, and he fucking treated me like shit, and he left me, dude, and he's just like barely getting these words out through all these tears, and he's like, I'm just so sorry, and I'm wondering if can we try again? And I was like, no.
Yeah, that's a good
I'm
answer.
going to Austin, Texas, and even if I was staying local, like, this is not an attractive thing. Like, you're fucking clearly, like, you need to go, like, work through some shit. Like, you did bad stuff to me, bad stuff happened to you. You took a coin out of the karma bag, it hit you in the ass. Like, we're not doing a long distance thing.
And he's also just like, he's like, just because he's like, oh, it didn't work out with my ex, I'm gonna go back to this guy because I'm sure he'll be waiting for me.
That feels great too.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, fuck you, dude.
So he helped me pack up a few things. Gave him a towel. I was like, stop crying, please. Like, just get yourself together. So he helped me pack up my apartment, which was very nice of him, and we parted ways. Fast forward 3 months later, it's February, and he hits me up and he's like, hey, I really need to. He lived in a very small town in California, like population, couple thousand people. And he's like, I just need to get out of the fucking city. Like, could I please come see you for a couple days and we can just like hit up some comedy clubs and just be friends? And I told him, yes, I'd love to see you, but it's going to be very platonic. Like, I just look at you as a buddy. Nothing is going to happen. Yeah. And he said, okay, that's fine with me. So it comes out. And we went to a hockey game, comedy club, couple museums. He's a huge museum guy, so we toured a couple museums one day. And on his last night here, he pulls it again, and he's like, could we please try this again? I said, no, I warned you. I said, absolutely not. Yeah. So he goes back home, and this was in February. In June, he calls me. I pick up the phone. I'm like, what's up, dude? And he says, guess what? I said, what? He says, I loved my trip to Austin so much.
Oh, God.
I'm moving to Dallas. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, dude, I love Texas. And I said, but you visited Austin. And he said,
Austin is not Texas, dude. Austin is California.
And he's like, yeah, so I got a place in Dallas. I was like, all right. Good luck to you. And,
go for it, bro.
And haven't heard from him since. So I'm assuming he's still in. But I just thought that end of the story was so funny. Like, if you went to Chicago and you loved Chicago, why would you move to, I don't know, any other cities in Illinois?
Yeah.
But
Dallas is definitely not Austin at all.
And for the record, I'm not shitting on Dallas. I'm not saying Dallas is a bad place. I'm just saying, if you loved your vacation to Austin, move to Austin.
Yeah. Also, like, when you visit a place for a little bit once, like, it's going to be, you got to spend time there to, like, know if you like it, You got to go around everywhere, spend time, like, maybe go there, like, multiple times. Maybe spend, like, a few weeks there. And you're like, oh, shit, I kind of like this place. It's kind of cool. Like, I'm going to move here. Or like, oh, I thought I liked this place, but now it sucks. Like, all these people are annoying and, like, get on my nerves and the traffic sucks and, like, it's so expensive. Like, and you're like, I don't like it. Yeah. So it depends. I think you should try it out.
You ever done smelling salts?
I have.
Good for you. Do you like them?
They don't give me the effect that, like, everyone talks about. I mean, they just kind of, like, hurt. I don't really, like, I just, like, I'm about to deadlift or, like, squat or bench, and I do them. I'm like, ow. I don't feel like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go bench this fucking weight. I'm just like, that fucking hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't like that very much. But some people, it, like, hypes them up and everything, but not really me. I kind of just do it, Music usually does that for me.
Yeah. Same reaction. I got them because mainly for workouts. And so me and my lifting buddy, we tried them a few times right before we did like heavy squats or heavy bench or something like that. And same thing. All it did was like, it sort of, how it like climbs up your nostril and into your brain.
Burns through your
It almost
sinuses.
feels like a worm or a little snake is like rapidly climbing up your nose.
It feels like, have you ever watched like water freeze in time lapse?
No.
It's like, it like spreads like that's what it feels like to me. Just like shooting into my cerebral cortex. It just hurts.
So do you like it or no?
It's an interesting feeling. I wouldn't say I like it. Like, I wouldn't use it to work out. It doesn't really do anything for me, but it's like fun to do. Like, you smell this, bro.
It is
Put
fun.
your nose in this. It'll be funny. Like, I like doing it to my friends. Be like, hey, what does it smell like? And they're like, they've never done it before. So I was like, hey man, what does this smell like? And it's like super strong ones too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, what does this smell like? And they're just like in agonizing pain. And I just think it's funny. I was like, that's what they're good for.
My workout buddy hates them, and I told him a couple days ago, I was like, one day when you're least expecting it, it'll probably be like a year from now, you're going to be in the middle of like a set of squats or doing something where you can't resist, like you won't be able to slap my hand away.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take one of these bottles and open it up and just fucking jiggle it right under your nose.
That would be fucked.
Yeah, but that's who I am. I like jokes.
Maybe you'll help them get the last rep.
Maybe
not. Maybe they'll just fall over.
Dude, he is he's one of those guys who before we started working out together, he didn't train legs.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
And I told him, I was like, you are going to lift legs with me once a week.
You told me about that at the gym. You were like,
yes, same guy. So then his girlfriend, he moved here in either July or August. And I told him, I was like, you wait to see how your girlfriend reacts after you hit legs consistently with me, and it'll be worth it.
yeah,
And so she got into town, what's tonight, Friday? She got into town Tuesday. And on Wednesday, we all went out to dinner. And when she saw me, she was like, dude, she puts out her hand and she says, thank you. And I don't know what, at first I'm just like, you're welcome. What I do? And she's like, my boyfriend has an ass now. And it's the best. I was like, dude, I told you I was doing you a favor and you didn't believe me. Look how happy she is. I just saved your relationship, brother. She was ecstatic. She's this is insane.
Yeah, some girls are, dudes think they're the only ones like a girl with the ass, with an ass, but apparently some girls do.
I mean, why do you think Captain America, I'll give Marvel one compliment, why do you think they were marketing it as
that's
America's ass?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
That probably drove women into the theaters by the droves.
Oh, yeah, by droves. He was fucking jacked ass dude.
Yeah, he is.
But, yeah.
How'd this go, do you think?
I like it, man. It's fun. I haven't had a conversation this good in, like, so fucking long. Mainly because I was telling you about, like, the, people in their phones and shit, like, just can't fucking talk to anybody. But it's so rare to have, like, a really fucking good conversation. Like, this is the first, like, good conversation I'm probably gonna remember forever, and so fucking long, dude. Like, I have not had a conversation this good with anybody in so long. Like, you have no idea. It's refreshing as fuck, man.
Good.
Like,
I have one more question for you.
Go for it.
I do feel like you're a little bit different in a good way since I saw you last.
Oh, really?
You think it's just time? Like, do you feel like you've changed in your first semester at college?
Yes, big time.
Why so?
Well, first of all, because my first year of college, it fucking sucked dick. It was awful. It fucking sucked. I was like, all my friends, I was going to community college, and most of my friends weren't, so all my friends were gone, except for like a few that also did ACC, but I lived alone in an apartment going to ACC with no friends, long distance girlfriend, and at that point, like I didn't know what was gonna happen with that, and I was like, fuck, like this could go bad. Like I was stressing about that all the time. Like I was like, she's in college, like probably gonna be meeting all these different people, like I'm still here, like I don't even know what I want to do, and like I got really depressed, and like I did like really bad in all my classes. And I was like, shit, man, like, no friends, girlfriend's far away. I don't know if this is going to work out. Like, I was stressing about that, like, all the fucking time. And I was so occupied with, like, how I was feeling about that I couldn't focus on anything else for a period of time. That was just, like, a part of it. It wasn't the whole thing, but I definitely worried about that probably a lot more than I should. But, there was so much uncertainty with what I wanted to do, and I put so much pressure on myself about what I wanted to do with my life just out of high school, and looking back on it, I was like, dude, like, fucking relax, holy shit, and, like, I would, like, I did everything by myself. I'd go to the gym by myself. I would eat by myself. I'd watch movies by myself. I'd go on walks by myself. I'd go to the movies by myself. Like I did everything alone. I'd go to my dad's house to like play guitar and like record music and shit and like, you know, whatever. But most of the time I was completely alone for like 9 months straight until my friends got back in town for summer, or like when they came back in town for winter break. I had a really hard time making friends. And like, you know, I would like meet people, but I'd never connect with them. Like it was always felt like it was really hard for me to connect with people to where I'd be like, I want to hang out with this dude again, you know. But I talked to my girlfriend on the phone every day. That really helped me through that time. Like, you know, it probably would have been so much harder without her, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like she definitely got me through a lot of that shit, whether she realizes it or not. But yeah, I didn't really talk to my friends from high school that much, you know, because they had all their stuff going on in college, and like, you know, they had friends there and like all that other stuff. I didn't have that. So I was just kind of like scrambling to my feet, like, fuck, what do I do? Like, oh shit, like I gotta fill my day. The weekend, I hated the weekends because that's like whenever I was partying and I had nothing to do, and I was like, fuck, dude, all I got is like going to the gym and like playing guitar, you know, which I liked. I liked playing guitar, but I was also like, fuck, I need friends.
Yeah.
But that was a tough period. That's probably one of the hardest points in my life. Was last year in college. It was so awful. Fucking, yeah, that was the loneliest I've ever been. And I think like really the only, my parents or my mom was, I would like lie to my parents a lot about how I was doing in school. I had a really bad relationship with my mom. I had a pretty good relationship with my dad though. I've always had a decent relationship with him, but with my mom, it was kind of difficult. And I'm not gonna like blame her or anything, but it was like I was really, really fucked up at that point, you know, mentally, and like she kind of was not really, you know, I felt like I wasn't allowed, because like, you know, my parents got divorced when I was like 5, you know, I don't really remember them together. It doesn't really affect me that they got divorced. I don't really care. But my mom got remarried, and then she had my half sister with my stepdad. So they have their own little family, and like I kind of felt like cast out of that in that point. So I felt very isolated, and I like didn't really have anywhere to go or run to whenever I was feeling down. And my girlfriend was already like super stressed out with school, so it was like, you know, I was like, fuck, man, like, you know, I talked to her, but like I needed to like, you know, I didn't have like, you know, someone to like lean on fully. But again, like if it wasn't for her, like it would be a lot harder. Like she definitely did the majority of getting me out of that. But yeah, that sucked. But then like what really turned everything around was, so my girlfriend at the like halfway through the first semester, like fall semester of like in like 2023, she was like, you should make a Bandmix account. And I was like, what the fuck is Bandmix? And she was like, it's like an app where, you know, musicians can meet other musicians. Like, you should try it out, and, you know, maybe you'll get in a band and meet some people you like. And I was like, all right, fine. But I haven't heard really good things about it. Like, it doesn't really work out. But so I made an account, and I jammed with a few people. None of them really worked out. And I was like, fuck it. Like, whatever. These guys suck. Like, I can't really jam with these guys. But, you know, I forgot about my account completely for like 6 months. And then in like April or March, I got a DM on Instagram from that first band I was in that I was telling you about. And like, that's kind of when things turn around, because I was like, oh shit, I'm in a band now. That's so cool. You know, and like that gave me something to look forward to. And like, then I, you know, the summer rolled around, went on tour in like all of June, a little bit of May, like, and then that was like, that really turned everything around. And like, I always had a passion for music, but that really solidified it, because I was like, this is what it's kind of going to feel like if I do this, you know?
Yep.
And I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, this is everything I've ever wanted. Even though it's like, you know, I wasn't even playing for like that many people. I mean, there was one show that was unbelievable. You know that band Flyleaf?
Oh, yeah.
So my band, actually, I opened up for Lacey Strum, the singer for that band.
When was this?
This was middle of July
In San Antonio?
in Austin at Come and Take It Live.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So I opened up for her, and that was insane.
That's
because,
crazy that you opened up
yeah,
for her.
I got to meet her backstage before the show, and she was like way shorter than I thought she was going to be. She's like 4'11", I think, but like I got to meet her, and I was
That's a strong voice for such a short person.
oh my God, dude. I like, after our set, and like there was like a few other bands played after, like, dude, seeing, like, I'd never really been a huge Flyleaf fan until, like, you know, I heard about them through, you know, my old band singer, and like she was like, oh, we're gonna open up for Lacey Strum. I was like, who the fuck is that? Like, she's like, singer for Flyleaf, and I was like, I know Flyleaf. They were like huge in the early 2000s. She was like, yeah. Look them up. Their first song has like 150 million streams. I'm like, holy shit. But we opened up for them. I got to meet her backstage. She's super nice. And I got like a photo with her, which is pretty cool. Like my band and everything. But that was the most people I've ever played for. There was like 650 people in this like medium-sized, smaller venue, you know. I don't know if you ever been to Come Take It Live?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was like packed, like shoulder to
They
shoulder.
probably fit, if it's packed, like, what, 150? 200
No,
people?
dude, there was like so many fucking people because they have like that lower part, right?
Yep.
And they have that upper deck here, and then they have all that up space up here.
Yeah.
And it was like packed to a fucking, like, I was like not prepared, like mentally prepared for that. And I just like remember like kind of like watching people roll in. I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, this is crazy. And there was like people, like the line was like out the fucking door and around the corner. And I remember, you know, we started our set, and I was walking on stage, and like I was backstage just like fucking sweating and freaking out. I was like, dude, fuck, man. Like, I was like, I never thought I'd be playing for this many people. And, you know, I walk out, and at this point also, I think like a month prior, after a show, I had my guitar, one of my guitars, my effects unit that you plug into your amp, like different sounds and stuff, like distortion, reverb, all that stuff. But it was a really nice $350 multi-effects pedal board, right? And then I had my Gibson ES235, which is a $3,000 guitar, in my back seat. Load my stuff in, and you know, I come back to my car, and it's fucking gone. Someone's broken into my car and stole all my music equipment. So I didn't have my nice pedal board that made me sound good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have my nice guitar. And I was like, fuck, man, I have a fucking show opening up for Lacey Strum in a week. This sucks. Like, I gotta fucking improvise. So, you know, with guitars, like, especially for heavier music, which is what I was playing, you need something called a humbucker pickup. And there's two kinds of pickup. There's a humbucker, which is a double wound, double coil pickup, which is what picks up the strings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a single coil, which is like it's one coil. So these double coils have a fuller sound, right? Which is what you need for metal. And I know you like Bring Me the Horizon, right?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So they have like those big, you know, those chugs, like those powerful, deep, muddy tones in their guitar. But if you have a single coil, it's like a thinner tone. You can't really get that chug. Mm-hmm. It's more for like, you know, blues or like country.
Gotcha.
Right? I mean, you can play metal with it, but if you're playing a rhythm part, it's kind of difficult to get that really thick chug, right? But I did have this old effects unit from when I was in high school. It was a piece of shit. I still have it, but I just bought a new effects board, which I'm really excited to use. But anyway, I had to use that for a long time. But anyway, so that's what I had to resort to, was this piece of shit. It's an Boss M2, if I'm not mistaken. But it's this piece of shit, like plastic effects board. But that's all I had, and I was like, I need to like do well in this fucking gig because I'm opening up for Lacey Strum.
Yep.
So anyway, you know, I do the sound check, and this is before our show. We did our sound check like 3 or 4 hours before, everybody came in, or for our set list. And it was, I had my tiny ass little fucking shitty effects unit, and I had to use my Telecaster, which is they have single coil pickups. Like I said, it's a thinner tone, not really meant for metal at all. Like, no one plays metal on a fucking Telecaster. And if you're into guitars, if anyone watching is into guitars, you know that like most of the time you don't play metal on a fucking Telecaster unless you like swap pickups. But Telecaster is like not a fucking metal guitar. It's a great guitar. I love that thing, but not for metal. Anyway, so I fucking turn it on. There's so much feedback. It's like this high-pitched squealing, like, and I can't get it to go down because I don't have a compressor, which eliminates those, like, So I was like, fuck, man. So that means that I have to, this is a volume pedal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Down, up. It's like high volume, all the way up, and then I was all the way down, no volume. So every time I stopped playing, I had to like turn down the volume all the way, so it didn't make that high pitched, loud ass squealing noise. So I didn't make the fucking audience deaf. But yeah. So we started our set, and I was so nervous because not only was I playing in front of way more people than I thought I was gonna play, like 600 fucking people. I also had like shitty equipment to work with, and I was like, shit, man. But it ended up working out, because I managed to get the volume thing right, and like I timed it perfectly, thank God. But after like the first song, I started to get into a groove, and that's when it started to become fun, and like when I got to like, the solo came up, got to shred in front of like 600 people. People started cheering and like going crazy, and I was like, dude, this is like, and then you just light up with like, you're like, this is fucking so cool, like I feel like, you feel like a rock star,
Yes.
like what you hear about in the movies and documentaries and stuff. You're like, I feel that way. That's so cool, man. It's all these people like cheering at me, like, and it was cool. It was so fucking cool to like experience that, and opening up for like a band as big as that was insane, and like, get off stage, all these people are coming up to you, dude, you played so fucking good, like people you've never met before just like coming up to you, like saying like, dude, you're so good, like you played so good, like hearing that, like even after like, oh fuck, I probably played like shit, my equipment was so bad, like, but just like getting that kind of just like attention, I've never gotten any attention like that. I feel like, in high school, like middle school, I was never like maybe in high school, I had a good amount of friends in high school, but middle school, like I bullied a lot. Like, I was like skinny, tiny, short glasses, fucking, I was
Nerd.
a goober in middle school, fucking goober. I loved like Halo, Halo, the game.
Dude, I was so good at Halo 2, my roommates wouldn't play with me.
I was so fucking good at Halo. I would fuck everyone up in Halo. I also knew all the lore, and like, Halo Reach was my favorite game. Halo Reach is the best Halo game.
Disagree, but that's fine.
Okay, fine. I agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I was obsessed with that. I was a fucking goober, right? Bullied, short, retarded, whatever. But anyway, so getting that amount of attention was like so weird to me, like all these random people, oh, you're so good at like guitar, like holy shit, like I wish I could play like you. Like, I'm not trying to like blow smoke up my own ass, like, I think I'm pretty all right. There's a bunch of guitar players better than me, like,
Yeah.
with anything, I like to think I'm like pretty good.
Yeah.
But just to like hear that is just like, it was insane. It was unlike anything I've ever experienced. It was an incredible thing that it was like this dream I had as a kid, and I was finally getting a taste of it. And it was just like, this is amazing,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like pretty much all I have to say about that. But
If we, I know you mentioned you're hanging out with another friend tonight. If we go for a few more minutes, is that okay?
no, I don't have anything planned. He's just like, like come over later and like smoke or something. And I'm like, okay, I'll let you know when I'm free. So
Do you need a pee by chance?
No, not right now.
I do.
Okay,
I'm going to take
it.
a quick break.
All right, go
I'll be
for
right
it.
back.
This is going really great, actually. This is a great conversation, man.
Really good.
Yeah. ready.
So, I have two follow-up. One follow-up question and one thing I thought of. But before I get to those, thank you for being here tonight.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad to do this. This is fun.
You have solved a huge problem for me that you don't even know about.
What is it?
So, on January 18th, the 100th episode is coming out.
Oh, really?
And yes, I've been really excited. I was really excited for it because I had a specific guest lined up, and he told me right before Christmas time he couldn't do it. So then I went into panic mode because I wanted the 100th episode to be one that was really special to me. Yeah. So I started hitting up I probably hit up like 45 people on Instagram and was like, hey, 100th episode is coming out. I don't even remember what I said, but I was just like, dude, I even hit up like Machine Gun Kelly. I hit up all kinds of people. I was like, because like what you said earlier, if you don't ask, like you're never going to get it.
Yeah.
So like worst case scenario, he doesn't see the message and I never get a response. Best case scenario, he's like, yeah, I actually will be in Austin that week. I'll do that for you. You never know. But it is now, where are we? January 3rd. And dude, I think this is going to be the 100th episode.
Yeah,
I have enjoyed this conversation so much.
I have too, man.
This is the 100.
Okay, let's go, man. I'm happy to be. It's an honor.
It's my honor. It's our honor.
Yeah, dude. This is one of the genuinely. I haven't had a conversation like this in God knows how long.
In 2025.
In 2024.
In the 72 hours that it's been.
And 2023.
No, it's been a good conversation. And if you have been listening, I'm assuming that if you've stuck with us for this long, you've enjoyed the conversation as well. So if you guys would do me a huge favor, as we cross this 100-mile episode and we go into the next 100 episodes, I have a very small ask of you guys. Over the last year and a half, I've dedicated thousands of hours and dollars to building this podcast. It's still ad-free. We're not under any production houses, so there's no commercials. I haven't monetized it. And my promise to you guys is for the next 100 episodes, I want to keep bringing you guests and good conversations with people like Julian. But what I need you to do as a thank you is go on to Spotify and give the podcast a 5-star review there. Go on to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review there, and go on to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you do these things for me, I promise you that I will keep bringing guests like Julian in for these conversations so that we can ignite as many internal fires as we can, not just in the U.S., but at this juncture, we have reached over 40 countries, over 446 cities, and we have done that because of you guys. And right now, only about 12% of you have given us these 5-star reviews and these subscriptions. So just imagine that if 12% have done this and we've reached 40 countries, if we got this up to even like 20 or 30% of the audience giving us these reviews, like how many people could we reach and motivate and inspire? It's really exciting. So please do this gift for me. I would appreciate it so much. One of my follow-up questions I wanted to ask you is, why do you think you have a hard time connecting with people?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell if it's, I just have a hard time, if there's a very specific kind of person that I connect with, or if I'm just not open to different kinds of people. And I feel like I am. I feel like I have friends that are like all over the map, like I feel like I have a very wide variety of friends, do all sorts of things, and all different kinds of personalities. So I don't know. I feel like it's difficult for me to. I know what types of people I don't connect with very well. Usually, it's at least being in college, like, your stereotypical frat guy. I'm not gonna connect with. Like, that's not the type of person I see myself really having a deep conversation with. However, I have friends that are in frats, and they're some of my best friends ever. I've been friends with them since I was a kid, since I was like 10. Some of my best friends are in frats, and I care about them a lot. But just take your stereotypical frat guy hobbies, like, what are some frat guy stereotype hobby things?
Football, bodybuilding, hazing, a lot of drinking, a lot of weed.
I know. I like
as many
beer.
hookups as possible.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
I'm not super into hookup culture. It's not really my thing, you know. Not knocking anyone who does it, but it's just not for me. But you know, I'll have a few beers every once in a while. I like watching football, you know, every once in a while when it gets interesting, you know, but it's not like I don't know, just those things aren't something I connect with. Like I've been to a few frat parties and I never really have that much fun, you know, like just anything in that realm of like, you know, people that center their idea of fun or their lives around partying, you know, like frat parties and like all that kind of stuff, like going to 6th Street or it's just like I don't know. I've never connected with that, you know. Not to say I don't like going to a nice party. I like going to parties. I'll get fucked up, you know. It's fun, you know. But it's not something I like.
Tommy Barbic
Love doing, you know. It's not like a crazy desire. I'm like, oh, it's Friday night. Let's go fucking frat party, bro. Like, I don't know. It's not like I just feel like I'm out of place there. I'm just like, so what am I supposed to do here? He's like, dude, go like talk to some girls, man. Go get fucked up. And I'm like, no, I have a girlfriend and all these guys are fucking idiots. And I don't want to talk about 1,000 different ways you can drink a fucking beer. I don't care about that shit.
Right.
Drink the fucking beer, you know? I don't care about how good you are at shotgunning. I don't care about how good you are at beer pong or whatever. I don't care about like how good your frat is. Like, not to say like if you're into that shit, like that's good for you, man. Like I know I sound like I'm knocking that stuff, right? But you know, maybe I shouldn't like kind of shit on it. But
You know what was interesting? Yeah, I'll go with interesting for the word. Is I got invited to someone's birthday party recently, and what they did was they rented out a little pontoon that we took out on Lake Travis, and the only person I knew was my friend that invited me, and I felt like I was at a frat party in my 30s, and I hadn't been that uncomfortable in so long.
I know that's how I feel at frat parties.
Because it was like the beer bong tables were there. And everyone was getting super drunk, which same as you. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I never get drunk. I got fucking drunk as hell on New Year's Eve, and that was 3 nights ago. It was more so I think, well, for one, I'm pretty sure I was the only gay dude there. And within 5 minutes of being there, I saw this group of 3 guys talking. And so I was like, I'm going to go talk with them. And so while we were hanging out, another dude came over. And he was like, what are you guys all doing standing over here like a bunch of... and immediately I was like, the boat was pulling away from the dock. And I was like...
No, I don't want to be here.
I sort of want to jump in the water and swim to shore and leave.
Fuck that.
And dude, it was like all the guys were just like talking about like with which women they can hook up with. And it was like beer pot. And I felt like I was back in college, but it was 12 years after college. Yeah. And I was like, what? Like,
I just like, I don't...
This is weird.
Like, I don't care about like... that shit. Like, fuck this fucking 30 girls. I'm like, cool. Like, it's not like it's like difficult. You know, you want a gold star. Like, I feel like any fucking dude, like if you're like a relatively respectable looking guy, you know, you can always go do that shit. It's right. Like, it's not like, I'm not saying like if you're into that, that's your business, none of my business, but I just don't think it's like worth like, you know, I fucked this girl and then I fucked this girl and then like I like shotgun like 20,000 beers and then like I like blacked out in a field and I'm like, I mean like it's funny to hear about. Like
it's funny.
It's fucking hilarious.
It was a funny party to observe.
Listening to those people talk about their crazy stories is hilarious. I think it's fucking funny as fuck. I wouldn't want to do it though, but. Like, I think it's funny talking to them sometimes. It's not, like, anything I want to be a part of, but I think it's hilarious to hear about it. You know, hear some, like, crazy shit people have done. You know, it's probably, like, not, like, a smart thing to do. And down the road, you don't want to live that lifestyle for too long, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's funny to hear about. It is entertaining. It's very entertaining to hear about.
Yeah.
But... I just don't want to be involved in it, you know. But back to what you were saying about, like, why I don't connect with people. Sorry, I feel like I've been like straying away from the answer.
No, that is the epitome that is podcasting. Is we go down rabbit holes.
But I don't know why I don't connect with very many people. I don't know. Maybe it's I've always kind of been like that, and I don't think it's other people. Like I don't want to like seem like like this person's not good enough to talk to me. I'm this way, and if they're not this way, I don't want to talk to them. Like that's a very arrogant way of living your life. You know, I feel like you should be open to talking to anybody. You know, you never know. You know, you'd be like, oh, I don't like this type of person. You know, for example, like generally I don't get along with frat people or frat guys, but like maybe I'll meet one and be like, dude, this guy's actually cool as fuck. You know?
Yeah.
So you never really know you're gonna meet. So I think it kind of just stems from, you know, how I've always been since I was a kid. I was a very shy, super shy kid, you know, growing up. Like during recess in elementary school, I would like just sit until recess. I hated recess. I hated it because I didn't have any friends. So I was like, this just sucks for me. 'Cause, like everyone else is like playing tag and stuff. So I'm just sitting here. And same with middle school. I didn't really sit with anyone at lunch. But you know, towards like 8th grade, I had a few friends in middle school. But I don't know, I was very shy. Yeah, I got picked on a lot for like being awkward, like anxious in social situations, not talkative. Like I got picked on a lot, you know. But and I was like a small, skinny fuck, so like I had like very low self-esteem as a kid, and I got bullied a lot in middle school for being, you know, very skinny and like, you know, I'm not trying to like make this a pity party or anything.
No.
But, you know, it's just like I think some of that stuff kind of stuck with me, you know, like it just kind of makes it hard for me to go up to I can't just go up to people and talk to them, you know. It's never been good at that. Like, you know, as I overthink, I'm like, what if they don't want me to talk to them? Like, I can't go up to anybody. Like, it was, you know, like I know like a lot of, you know, kids that age, like, you know, oh, I'm scared of girls. I don't want to talk to girls. But it was, for me, it was like everybody, you know, it was like, I don't want to go talk to anybody because they probably don't want to talk to me. So it was just like, I had a low self-esteem growing up, and like, I've definitely gotten a whole lot better now. Like, you know, I feel like I'm pretty social now, and willing to talk to people. But like, you know, back then, I feel like that kind of just stuck with me in a way. So it's kind of hard for me to connect with people because I can't like, you know, I overthink like, at least like, when I first start talking to someone, like overthink the conversation too much. I'm very kind of like hiding and like a hermit crab, just hiding. I don't want to talk to anybody.
It feels safer sometimes.
Yeah, but it's not like good. I need to get out there and stop.
I'm not saying
like,
it's good. Yeah. I'm just saying like it feels sometimes.
So I feel like the reason I can't connect with people isn't really like I have a very specific type of person I want to hang out with, because that's not true. I have friends all over the board. I think it's just something kind of with me, you know, just I kind of have a hard time, like, you know, being social, you know.
So let me ask you this. Let's say that you could teleport back to middle school Julian.
Mm-hmm.
Would you tell him to do anything different?
No.
Why?
Because that's when I really honed in on guitar and art, because that's all I really had. I didn't have a lot. I had a few friends I'd hang out with every once in a while at school. But when I was alone, you know, which was most of the time, I would draw on my sketchbook and I would practice guitar every single day. And like while I was in class, you know, I would always have my sketchbook out. You know, some people would like make fun of me for drawing. I don't know why, but like a lot of people made fun of me for that. I'd be like, is that really what you want to do for the rest of your life? Like, that's not gonna make you any fucking money. Like, I got that in middle school. Like, no one had a fucking job when they're 13, you know?
Yeah.
But that's what I like doing, you know? I didn't have any friends. I didn't have anyone to impress. Like, I was like, this makes me happy, you know? I have a hard time meeting people, but what can I do in my free time? I like to draw. It makes me happy. Or I like to play guitar. And I just focused on that, and it was fun. It was like an escape from all the bullshit, you know, like getting bullied, and then like all this like family shit at home was kind of fucked. Like, I don't know. I was like kind of tough relationship with my mom growing up. Kind of like, you know, she was in her own world, and like, you know, I kind of tried to get her attention, but like didn't really work out. So, you know, well, as long as I get my mind off that stuff, like the bullying and like family stuff, was guitar and my drawings, and that's kind of what I ran to. And it was a rough time period, but like I'm so glad it happened because I wouldn't be as, far along as I am now with those things.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think I would change anything. 'Cause I'd be different, and I like the way I am right now.
I like the way you are right now.
Thank you.
When I was going through my lonely phase through middle and high school, I was a pretty darn good piano player, and I was playing the piano at my church on Sunday mornings. And even though I don't go to church now, and I won't even call myself a Christian now, dude, that was like my escape. Because have you ever heard of a city called Vallejo, California?
I have not.
It's it's outside the Bay Area, but it's a very poor part of the Bay Area. So there's a lot of gangs and drugs and poverty. And this church probably fit about 600 people, give or take. And we always were a packed house. And this church, what I liked about it was, I feel like there's churches in like more well-off areas where people just sort of go. It's just like a thing you do, Monday through Friday you go to work and then Sundays you go to church. Yeah. In this city, the people that were coming to this church were like truly trying to escape their current reality. Like they were looking for something. They may not have even been Christians. They were just like, my fucking husband has cancer. My son just got shot and killed because he was part of this gang. Like people in this church were like, they were desperate for I need to find something.
Yeah.
So when I was up on stage and I was playing the piano and Austin was playing the bass guitar and Tina was singing her heart out, and you would look into the crowd and you would see people just like on their knees in tears, and you realize that that we were creating an environment where people could just like fucking like live or connect or like, and I don't even feel like this is specific to the church. I felt like this in other concerts too. Music has a magic to it that just fucking talks to your goddamn soul.
That's why I love it so much.
And dude, that got me through high school.
Yeah.
When I was on that stage, it's like anything that I was bullied about or made fun of in the prior week didn't even matter, because in that moment I was doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing, and none of the other bullshit even mattered.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly how I felt. Dude, middle school kids can be fucking mean.
Yeah.
I can say some fucked up shit to you. There's this one time, so I was like really, really skinny in middle school, like 6th, 7th grade. Yeah, I think I was like malnourished or something. I don't know. I had like really bad ADHD from like I don't know. I got like, they put me in some room when I was like 10 for like 8 hours every day for a week.
Oh,
to get me tested for ADHD, because that's back when it was like, you had to like get tested. It wasn't like, I can't concentrate. And it's like, here's a meth pill. It was like you had to actually have something wrong with you. But anyway, so I was on like a lot of Vyvanse, which was like that ADHD meds, and a big side effect. I was on a lot of it for like my size. I was like skinny, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot goes a long way, right? I think I was on like 30 milligrams, and I was like bone skinny. And what the big side effect of Vyvanse is appetite loss, and I was on it since I was 10 years old. And I lost a ton of weight since I was from like 10 to 13. So like, you could probably go like this around my entire arm when I was like 13. Like it was like that. And like you see my ribs, like it was bad, and like spine was like showing. But anyway, I got made fun of a lot by that, or from that. And funny enough, like I got picked on by like, the football kids, and like, them. They were just kind of like shove me around and stuff. But like, the main thing was actually the girls. Like the popular girls were like fucking ruthless. They took photos of me like walking to class, and like they'd send them around and stuff.
Jesus.
Yeah, and they're like, make fun of how skinny I was. And then they'd take photos with me like I was like a special ed kid or something. Like, they do that, like, hi, best friend, you're my best friend because you're like special or whatever. Like, that's how they treated me. And I was like, I'm not like, I don't have like I'm not like special. I'm fine. I just like, I don't talk much. Like, I'm not like, it's not something wrong with me.
Right.
And like, they treated me like that and it sucked. It was like really dehumanizing. Yeah, it sucked. I don't really know where I was going with that, but what was the question?
Could I rephrase an earlier question?
Yes.
So I asked you if you could go back in time and talk to middle school Julian,
Yeah.
would you change anything? You said no. Let me rephrase the question this way. So 65% of the audience of this podcast is 24 years old or younger. So we got teenagers, a lot of young people.
Yeah.
So let's say there's someone who happened to click into this episode and they are in high school right now or middle school, and they are in that phase of life where they do feel lonely, they're sitting by themselves, they're getting picked on. Is there anything that you would tell them not to do differently, but like now that you're so many years past it,
dude,
what message would you want to give that person that's listening tonight?
Heard what I'm about to say. I heard a million times from my parents when I was in middle school and high school. When you get picked on, like, sucks, but like when you hear from your parents, you're like, yeah, you say that, but like you're not in it right now. It doesn't fucking matter, because all those people that are like hot shit in high school and middle school, the fucking second you graduate, they don't fucking matter at all. Like, they are, like, God, like, these kids used to pick on me. The girls they used to give me a fucking hard time in middle school and like a little bit of high school. It was like, those like popular fucking girls or whatever. But like, you look at them now, and all the dudes are like getting DUIs, getting arrested, or like they just get fucking fat, or like the girls start like, letting themselves go, and like just, and like, it's, you just see them slowly start to deteriorate over time, and you're like, wow, like, you kind of are just a loser now. They kind of, you realize that they never had anything going for them in the first place other than what mattered in high school, which was, if you're good at football. But some of those kids, like, there was like kids in my school that like are insane college football players now. But for the most part, like, a lot of these like kids that were hot shit in high school, went to all the parties and like got with all the girls, like, they're either, they didn't go to college, not because they had something else they wanted to do, but because they just didn't want to do anything. They just aren't going anywhere, have no goals, no drive for anything, and like, they just kind of fade out, and they're type of people that peaked in high school, and then they just start like reminiscing on like, oh, Bo Breck in high school, like there's that. And then you got like guys in college that fail out of college because they party too much, and they try to be who they were in high school instead of being like, well, I'm an adult now, and you start growing up, and like taking responsibility for my own actions and growing as a person. Instead of that, they're like, oh, like, time to party more and try to be what I felt like in high school, and then it just crashes. But my point in saying that is like, it flips. All these kids who like got bullied in high school, like, maybe they'll start working out after high school, get in good shape, start looking better. Yeah. And then like, it flips, and if I could tell myself that, I would have felt a whole lot better. And my parents told me that too when I was going through it, because I talked to my dad about it when I was going through that. But, if I could tell myself that from the future, I would have believed myself over my parents. Because when you're that age, you're like, oh, you don't understand what I'm going through. Like, it's different. But
it's
like,
harder hearing it
They
from
do.
your parents.
When you get older, you're like, they did understand that,
Yeah.
But if I guess if I could have understood something at that age, that's what I would have wanted to understand and internalize. That it flips. All these people that are like hot shit in high school aren't anymore. And you don't even hear their names after you graduate. They're irrelevant to everything. Like, it's all that matters when you graduate. You're just like, I got my path, and I'm going to do what I want to do. And if anyone wants to go along with me and like hang out with me, that's fine too. And you realize that's, you know, you don't have this big ass group of like 1,000 people that go to your school, you know, like it's just you and the people in your life, you know, and, you know, it's, yeah. My point in saying that is it flips, you know, people that are hot shit aren't anymore after high school. And, you know, you're going to feel a whole lot better about yourself when you graduate.
I think the only thing I would add to that is that even if regardless of what happens to the people,
yeah,
like it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because when you graduate,
yeah.
It doesn't matter if they thrive, if they deteriorate, if they stay on the same path. It doesn't matter because you almost get to reinvent yourself after high school. And if you get to go to college or not, you have this freedom to sort of decide. Like you're leaving this circle that you've been a part of for 4 years, give or take, maybe more if the middle school was the same group of kids. And now you get to go be whoever you want. And you almost get to like reinvent yourself in a way.
I guess like rephrase is, you're exactly right. I wouldn't say like all the people that were at the top are going to like, you know, but it happens sometimes, but I think what you're saying is definitely a lot more accurate. Like, it doesn't matter what happens. Like, you don't care about what happens to them after high school, whether they do really well or they do really bad. It doesn't matter. Like, what matters is, like, you know, it doesn't you don't have to talk to them anymore. You don't have to see them again if you don't want to. It just doesn't matter. You don't give a shit about what happens to them.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, they can't fuck with you anymore. Because it's just like, as you get older and you can't pull that shit with anyone in real life after, like, you can't go up to them like, you're fat. And they're like, fuck you, dick. Like, and then everyone's going to be like, why'd you call him fat? Like, you know, it's like, it's just like those types of people don't really usually thrive. Yeah. You know, and maybe they'll have a lot of money, but they're not going to have people in their lives.
But even if they do have money, they could be like those people I described to you earlier, the few people I've met who are probably making, you know, $1 million a year. They're so I have yet on my 37 years on this planet, I have not met a happy rich person.
I know. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I want to be one of the first happy rich people.
Yeah, I think you will be. Just got to keep doing this, man.
Oh yeah, I could never be miserable doing this.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and
you're rich right now. Look what you're doing right now.
Oh, dude, I am. I couldn't have asked for a better way to spend my Friday night.
Yeah, like, this is rich.
Yeah.
You're the richest man alive right now.
Fuck yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. You know, like if I'm living in a van and I'm going on tour with a band that's like, I'm like having a good time with, do what I love, make enough money to get by, I'm the richest man on the planet. Yeah. That sounds corny, but it's true. You know, that's the way I see it.
I have something I want to read to you that I think you're really going to like.
What?
So I am gonna go in a reading mode. Usually I'm pretty conversational on this podcast, but I don't want to mess this up.
Okay, go for it.
So let me set the stage for the audience and for you a little bit as well. For those listening at home, I want you to grab a journal, a sticky note, anything you can write on, and also a pen or pencil. And if you can find about 10 minutes to listen to this portion of the episode where you can be alone, not distracted, somewhere quiet and peaceful, that would be ideal. So if you happen to be like at work right now or driving, hit pause. I really want you guys to listen to the next 5 to 10 minutes when you can have 100% of your attention on the podcast. And the instructions are that I'm going to tell you the story of a potential reality. I don't want to call it a prayer. I don't want to call it a meditation, and this is simply a way to harness a few different abilities that we'll go into after the exercise. So before we start, me and Julian are both going to close our eyes, and so are you, the audience, and we're going to take 20 deep breaths. Then everyone is going to keep your eyes closed, including you. I'm going to ask you to keep your eyes closed while I start speaking and keep them closed until the very end when I say the end. And while I'm reading you this story, I want you to put your imagination to work, visualizing yourself as the main character of this story to the best of your ability. Are you ready? All right, we're going to close our eyes and we're going to take 20 deep breaths starting now. You wake up. Your current life, being in David's home, recording an episode of a podcast, was just a dream. The actual reality. You live in a care home. You are your 90-year-old self. But if the worst version of yourself controlled your entire life was run by your worst personality traits. Ego, fear, pride, envy, greed, narcissism, procrastination, lack of patience. All your time is spent in regret, replaying mistakes. You never took a risk or listened to your gut. You pushed your family and friends away. The lazy care home team never checks in on you. Every part of your old body aches like you've run a marathon. Your left eye no longer works. You've lost one of your hearing aids. You try to get out of bed. You collapse to the floor. You crawl into a wheelchair, and in front of you is a giant clock. This clock has 5 minutes left on it. Above the clock, there are 7 words. How long you have left to live. Your heart sinks further. All the regrets get more intense and vivid. Bang, bang, bang. There's a knock at the door. You wheel across in your wheelchair. It requires all your body's strength to open the door. As the door opens, an overwhelming golden glow appears. Staring back at you is a person you recognize. It's you, but the person you could have become. It's the version of you if your best self made all your decisions. They are also 90 years old, but they look significantly younger than you. With a massive smile on his face, your best self tells you stories of the fantastic life he had. The risk he took, the magic moments, the memories with friends and family. Where you zigged, they zagged. Your envy is overwhelming. You would do anything to go back in time. Rage kicks in. You yell at your better self to shut up. You then look over at the clock on the wall. It has 30 seconds left. You are about to die. Fear and regret intensify. The best version of yourself is about to leave the room. But before he goes, he says, I've got good news. I can send you back in time, but you have to promise me this. Write down an action you'll do today that involves your best self, and an action to avoid your worst self. You shake hands, sign a contract, and promise to schedule it in your calendar. He opens his time machine. Wham! You're back in the present moment. You're the person that 90-year-old self was desperate to be. You have a clear list of actions and when you're going to do them today. Open your eyes and write down the agreement. The end.
Wow. Did you write that yourself?
No.
Oh.
Sure. Yeah. What do you think?
That's fucked. That's like, what would I write down?
Before we get to that, what do you just think of the narrative?
That's a really interesting way to think about things because I think most people I wouldn't say most people end up like that, but they end up to a degree feeling like that, when they die. Or not when they die, but feeling like they're approaching that, Like, oh, what could I have done at this moment in my life that would have made things better? Like, what decision or outcome that I have full control over that I could have, like, either I could have tried harder at this, I could have studied harder for this exam, or I could have taken this risk and tried this new thing, or I could have taken this opportunity and I didn't take it, I think a lot of people feel like that every once in a while. I mean, I feel like that sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was very, yeah, I feel like we all feel like that to a degree, even present moment right now. I mean, I'm only 19. I turned 20 in March, but I know I'm relatively young, But even then, I still feel like, I could have made better decisions at this point in my life. So I think it's a really interesting way of putting it, because you can imagine what the best possible version of yourself would look like. I mean, I could imagine it right now. At least what I'd want to be.
What does it look like?
I feel like all that time last school year, I spent a lot of time like just kind of feeling bad for myself. You know, feeling bad for myself in my apartment and like, why does it suck so much? Like, this is out of my control. I feel like a lot of it totally was in my control, and I convinced myself that it wasn't. And if I could go back, I would have tried to force myself to realize that and be like, you're fully in control of making this situation better. I would have tried harder in school. Despite feeling like shit, I would have went and got a job somewhere, just like a part-time job to do with school. I would have made a bigger effort to meet other musicians and start a band and like not stop until I found people that I really got along with, or maybe even maybe I would have like practiced the songs I was supposed to learn from that one other band I was in. Maybe try and sound better. I would have mainly just would have done better in school. Would have chosen to study more. Would have got off my ass and gotten a job, or like just like put more effort in and stop wallowing in my own sadness. I feel like, because I felt like at that time I was trying to blame everything except for myself for my situation. What I would do is like, the reason I'm here is because of this, and some of it was true. I mean, but it was also like, I wish I made a better prepared for that year after high school. But also, even if all those things were not my fault that I was in that situation, which some of them were, a lot of them were, or had that mindset, but like, what I didn't, what I refused to believe was that I was choosing to keep myself there, like, the reason I was still in that spot for so long, that entire 9 to 10 months, was because I didn't make or take any action to get out of it, you know? So even if it wasn't my fault that I was in that situation, you know, it's my fault for not taking action to get out of it, or even start the process of getting better. I know when you're in a situation like that, there's not like an immediate thing you can do to like snap yourself out of that and be like, oh, I'm good now. But I didn't take the necessary steps to get out of that. Takes a long time. Sometimes it takes shorter time than other people. It varies on the person how long it takes to get out of a situation. There's a lot of variables, but I feel like I could have started taking steps to get out of that and, put myself in a better situation. I could have, stopped spending my weekends inside. Playing guitar is great. I'm glad I got as good as I did over that period of time. All I did was practice, but I should have just taken like maybe one night out of the week to go socialize and like contact friends, even if I didn't want to go, just go anyway. Or, I went and got a job where I would interact with people every day and like maybe make a friend at work. Like, I wish I did that, and I should have, but I didn't, because I was blaming everything except for the reason I was there, or the reason I was still in that situation after so long. I kind of subconsciously thought that there was going to be some magical thing that was going to happen that was going to pull me out of that, instead of realizing that I'm in full control right now and I can choose to be here. I can make a decision to get out of it, and yeah, that's what I would change.
Well, I think you know what you need to do in 2025 now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've made a lot of progress since then, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be.
When
Not in a bad way, but just like, always, working towards something. No one's perfect, but you can always try and get better in whatever you want.
When we saw each other in the gym,
Yeah.
and you flashed me the biggest smile, I instantly could tell like there is something different about you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I wasn't sure what it was, but that's part of the reason I re-invited you back on the podcast. I was like, I think he's ready now.
Yeah. I mean, definitely took some time. I was a bitter ass person back then. I remember this one time I was with my friend and like we were at the gym and we're like, I don't know, we were like making fun of this dude and like you were like, don't make fun of him, he's my friend. And that was like kind of like hit me like a train. I was like, fuck, dude, I was kind of being an asshole, you know. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
And like I was kind of being a dick, and I didn't realize it in the moment, but it was just because I was like kind of just needlessly taking out my day on other people, make myself feel better because I was having such a bad time. And I remember that was a kind of little moment where I was like, damn, I'm kind of being a dick. Like I don't see myself as a dick. Never really thought of myself as a dick, but that was kind of a dick thing to do. I was like, damn, I feel like I kind of do that a lot. And kind of change that about myself and work on it. But, you know, that was kind of an example of like kind of how I was. So I think definitely more, I guess, ready to do this podcast now than I was back then.
Yeah.
I know what the fuck I was doing back then. It was only a year ago. I mean, I definitely still have a lot of growing to do. I mean, no shit, everyone does. But, you know, I feel like I made some progress.
Yeah, dude, that was a scary night because I wasn't sure how you were gonna react to me saying what I said to you. And I also didn't want to lose you as a friend.
No, yeah.
And I
mean,
was like,
honestly,
fuck, I don't know how this is going to go down.
You got to tell your friends when they're being a dick. You got to let them know. It's the only thing you can do. Like, be like I don't know, one of my friends being a dick, like, you're fucking being a dick, man. He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, being a good friend is telling your friend when they're being a dick. You don't let your friends continue to be dicks.
Yeah.
You know? So, it's a good thing you did that.
Right on.
So, you know, you gotta, I like when people, I mean, honestly, I don't like, obviously, people mean to me, but like, you know, you gotta be honest with your friends.
There's definitely a difference.
Yeah.
Someone called me out on something this week, and my gut reaction was I didn't like it at first. But then I ended up thanking her. I was like, thank you for keeping me honest. Like,
What was it?
So I had basically I had introduced someone to a company for a job interview, and the interview was back on like November 12th,
Yeah.
and I never followed up with her to tell her she didn't get the job.
Oh.
And so then she emailed me like yesterday, and she was like, hey, you came off so strong in the first interview that I had a really good impression of you guys, and I'm really disappointed that 6 weeks has gone by, and like clearly I didn't get the job, but it would have been nice if you had communicated that to me.
Yeah.
And I called her and she didn't pick up, so I just left a voicemail, and I was like, hey, I got your email, I wanted to talk to you face to face because I feel like that's the right thing to do, and I thank you for calling me out. I completely forgot to call you. Like, I'm not gonna bullshit you and be like, oh, like I forgot because of Christmas. Like, I fucking dropped the ball, and I'm very, very sorry. And that already feels shitty to not get a job, but then to like not even like to get ghosted, that fucking sucks. So she hasn't called me back, and she probably won't.
Yeah.
But
well,
like,
I mean, everyone fucks up every once in a while. No one's perfect.
No.
you
But
know,
I do-
You gotta learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Though.
yeah,
I got called out on something, like, I think like 2 weeks ago. I had a bad habit. I still kind of working on it. Being like on time to shit. I get like really sidetracked so easily. But yeah. So
I get sidetracked. He said.
But yeah. So I was supposed to hang out with one of my friends. He told me to come over or like meet. And he was like, because like we were gonna go to the Greenbelt, and you know, he wanted to be out there during the day. So he was like, meet me there. Meet me at this because there's a Gold's Gym right next to my mom's house. So he's like, meet me in that parking lot and we'll take my car. You know, everyone's meeting there. We're going to take my car. And I was like, okay. And he's like, meet there at 3. And I was like, okay. And like, I got sidetracked, started playing guitar, and I got really into like coming up. I was like, this is a cool riff I'm playing. I'm going to keep working on it. And then I completely forgot, oh yeah, I have to fucking be somewhere. And I was like an hour and a half late.
Oh no.
4:30. big time traffic. No, I wasn't hour. No, I was like, it was like 4 p.m. And like, they were like, are you on your way? Are you on your way? And I look at my phone, I'm like, fuck, dude, I got so many missed calls. And like, I show up late and I feel bad. And then like my friend, and he's one of my best friends. I've been friends with him since I was 6 years old. He was in town for Christmas. He's like, look, dude, you know, I'm glad you're here, but it seems like a lot of the times you don't respect other people's time, you know, and you think everything kind of time revolves around you, and you need to work on that. And like, you know, my girlfriend's like said that to me too, and my dad and some of my other friends. But that was kind of a moment where like, shit, man, I gotta work on that.
You're 19. I'm not making an excuse, but
I know.
also like,
I mean, like
you said,
everyone-
you have so much time to keep working on this stuff.
Yeah, I
and
know. But
that is a good. I'm glad he said something though, because
I am
being on
too.
time for your friends, like your friends are like your second
Yeah,
family.
I know.
You
It's
know?
like being on time. When someone's like on time for you, it means something. You're like, oh, that he respects my time. That's good, dude. And I kind of like get in my own head, and I'm like, you know, I don't. It's not that I'm fuck this guy's time. You know, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy's time. I don't care about his time. It's more like I just like am not conscious of it. You know, I don't think about it. And sometimes I'm trying to work on that.
Yeah.
But that's the time I got called out. No, it was not that long ago. Still brand new issue need to work on.
Julian Kennedy,
But
this has been so much fun.
it has been fun. Very fun.
this
Very
is-
fun conversation. I haven't had a good I know I said this a billion times, but like haven't had a conversation like this in years, dude. Seriously.
It was good.
Yeah.
You want to come back?
I'd love to come back.
Come back.
I will.
Yeah, you'll be back. You'll be a return customer.
Of course, man. This was fun.
Dude, episode 100 in the books.
Okay.
It'll be live January 18th. You think your mom and dad will listen?
Probably.
You gonna tell anyone, or you gonna keep it on the lowdown?
I already told all my friends.
It's funny because people do one thing or the other. They're either like, yes, I'll share it on social media. I'm going to tell people, like, I will do everything I can to help you get this episode out into the universe.
Yeah.
And then the other group of people is like, maybe like extremely humble, almost to a fault, where they're like, I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm not going to help you market this thing. I'm not going to put it on my social media. And I don't care. Like, I respect both sides equally, but it is funny how there's not really anyone in the middle.
I feel like I'd probably be in the middle. I mean, my friends, like, if they heard all the shit I was talking about, like divinity and spirituality, like, why are you talking about that stuff? Like, they're like, I don't talk to my friends about any of this shit ever.
But it's like we said earlier, it's not because you want to tell them, but how often do you sit with, like, your
don't-
buddy who invited
exactly.
you to the Greenbelt? When was the last time that you and him were one-on-one for like 2 hours?
Fucking never, dude. Like, I mean, when we're one-on-one, it's kind of like, you know, you don't have I don't really have real conversations like this with my friends. I do sometimes, but not really. You know, it's like, I don't know. They you know, it's like to go do stuff, and I love doing that stuff with my friends. You know, it's not saying it's any less like important. You know, I'm not complaining. I love my friends. I love hanging out with them. You know,
But also, how often do
Never.
a friend says, so Julian, tell me, what do you think about God?
fucking never, dude. Like,
That's not a normal question.
Nobody asked me that question. My girlfriend asked me a bunch of like dumbass questions all the time that are fun to answer on the phone. Like, just like, would you rather, like, I don't know. It's like really stupid. Would you rather? She'll ask me stuff like that. So me and her talk about stuff like that all the time. But like with my friends, no, not really. They don't really like. They're kind of like, do you wanna come over and grill something? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, do you wanna go build a fire and cook steaks on it and drink beer and listen to Pearl Jam? And I'm like, I'd love to do that.
It doesn't sound like a bad hang.
It sounds like an amazing hang. It was great. It was the best steak I've ever had in my life. But we don't really talk about stuff like this ever. I mean, I'd be down to. I just don't think they really care about that stuff. And that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't really talk, like, you know. I mean, really like talking about stuff like this, but I don't really have a lot of friends I can talk about stuff like that with.
I will say, like, even in my life, probably the only person I talk to about this kind of stuff regularly is my lifting buddy. But that's also because we see each other 4 times a week for
Yeah.
2 hours. So
Oh,
when you're
yeah.
spending 8 hours a week with one of your boys one on one in the gym, like, it doesn't come up all the time. Like, most of the time we're goofballs and we're just like joking about stuff that literally doesn't matter. But there's other times too.
That's
like
like
a couple,
90% of my friendship with my friends, talking about dumb shit that doesn't matter.
and that's fun.
It's fun.
That's just
Yeah, you
part
need
of
that.
life.
You need that. You can't be serious all the time. You go crazy.
No. But then, like, one workout a couple weeks ago, we started talking about why neither of us talked to our dad. And I was just like, how the fuck did we get on this? And he was like, I don't know, but it was a damn good conversation.
I wouldn't say it never happens with my friends, because sometimes it just randomly does. We'll get in like a super deep conversation, but like it's not super often. It's very rare that happens, but sometimes it does. But I will say the most times I've had conversations like similar to this is with people that are, musicians. Like a lot of the musician friends I have, like that are in bands and stuff, like that are really passionate about what they do. We'll have like really solid conversations about that, like what we were talking about earlier about like music. My music is like not as deep anymore, like whatever, like stuff like that, which I love talking about. Like things I'm really passionate about. I like friends that are into art, music, like I have those conversations with, but not so much like my close. It's weird. Like most of my closest friends, I don't talk about deep stuff with, but like friends that I've made recently that I've met, like playing in my old band and stuff, and like other people I've met that are also like artists and stuff, I have those conversations with, is what I've noticed. And I think that's, obvious. I'm drawn to people like that. Not just like if you're a musician or an artist, but people that like create things. I mean, you're creating this podcast. You like come up with all these like questions that strike conversation. I feel like that's an art form within itself.
Definitely.
Creating. It's like creation of. I feel like the conversation that we've had past however many hours is, in a sense, a piece of art that you have created. You pulled these questions. You've pulled everything I've said. You've pulled out of me by asking questions, and you've asked all the right questions to get to know someone to their core in the matter of 2 hours. Like, you probably know more about me than some of my closest friends do from asking me these questions, which is insane to me because, like, I've been friends with my friends for 10 years, and you probably know, like, parts about me that they have no idea about or I've never talked about with them. So I think the fact that you were able to crack down all these barriers and like get to know me in the 2 hours is insane, and I think that's an art form within itself. So people that create things like and think the way that you do is, in a way, you think like an artist, musician, filmmaker. Like I feel like you think the same way they do, in a different sense, of course, but like I feel like if you create something, if you're a creator of any kind, you have a very similar language to other creators that you can communicate through in a similar way.
Well, for anyone that's, I think New Year's resolutions are sort of like BS.
I think it's bullshit. Just do it now. Like, come
but,
on.
But if you were to think of like a way to challenge yourself in 2025, the way I go into these conversations is I just look, when you're talking, I look for things that I want to know about. So when you mentioned that you had a hard time connecting with people, I really wanted to know why. It's like, what is that? Yeah. And so as you're talking with your friends, listen for those key things that you're like, I've never heard him say that or her say that before. And I wonder, like, I want to know more about that. And maybe you can't ask them in the moment because you're with a group of like 10 people or whatever. But maybe your goal for the next 12 months could be just to have like a genuine curiosity about your friends. And when you hear those things, maybe you even jot them down and you're like, try to hang out with Julian sometime in the next couple weeks, one-on-one, because I really want to ask him about, he mentioned spirituality and him and me have never talked about that before. And I'm curious, like, what does he think? Like, is he a Christian? Is he an atheist? Does he believe in God? Does he not believe in God? Like that. And so I appreciate the very kind words that you said about me. And that's my only frame of mind that I go into these conversations with is I just listen intently to you. And then when you're talking for 3 minutes, I'm like, out of these 3 minutes, there's like 6 questions I want to ask him. But of the six, like, what's the important one? What's the one that like I'm really curious about? And then I just pivot to that one once and yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude, this has been fucking amazing.
And it actually wasn't 2 hours; it was 3.
3 hours? Damn,
we're at 3 hours and 13 minutes, and
That
it's
went
definitely
quick.
10:50 right now.
Damn, that went quick, man.
And it doesn't feel
Time
like
flies.
it never
No,
feels like
yeah.
it.
Damn, I haven't been that locked into a conversation in so long. I know I've said it 1,000 times already, but like seriously.
It was so much fun.
I know, dude.
It's such a good
Damn.
dude. And before we end this thing, you're Julian. You are just like super interesting. Like I'm sort of speechless at just like the young man that's sitting across from me today. I feel like you bring so much to the table,
Thank you.
and there's probably some things that you don't even give yourself credit for. But I'm just like incredibly grateful to be a part of your life, and over the next
Thank
couple
you, man. I
years,
really
I can't
appreciate
wait
that.
to see like just where you go with college, with music, with your art,
Thank you.
all of it. This is really exciting, and I'm really grateful to know you.
I'm really grateful to know you too, man. It's been like, even just like, running to you at the gym, like it's always like, I could be having a shitty day and I like talk to you for like 5 minutes. Always like makes me feel better. Swear to God, I'm not just bullshitting you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're a good dude, man.
You're a good dude as well. Julian Kennedy, thanks for being part of the
course.
podcast. To the audience, happy January 18th. Happy episode 100. I don't know who you people are, but if you want to start commenting on the podcast more, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, there's even a link now where you can text me. So that I think it literally just says like send a text. Just so you know, they are anonymous. So if you want me to know who you are, make sure to include your name and either like your phone number, your email, your Instagram handle. In 2025, I would love to get to know exactly who the audience is. I know you're out there. I know you're listening, but I have no idea who you are. So start commenting on the videos more. Shoot me a text message if you want to. But in the meantime, guys, I'm so excited to keep podcasting with y'all in 2025. Stay healthy, stay happy, and have an awesome Saturday night. Bye, everyone.